same time.
I mean,
Like you always have music on, and you listen without like headphones on. I can't do that either. Like I wouldn't be able to listen through speakers and have like a conversation with somebody. I've got to have the speakers to. I guess it's more noise cancellation to have less stuff going into my eardrums. But
sorry, say that again. I had a really good song on.
yeah, if I was in like a little shed like you are, then I'm sure there's not that much noise around you, so it probably works.
Oh yeah, it's nothing, and it's all soundproofed as well, isn't it? It's like, yeah. It sounds great, mate. Yeah, I hate having headphones on. And hello, everybody. By the way, we're just having a casual chat as we're live. That's normally what we do, anyway. Hi, James.
You usually run away right when you go live. You're like, "Oh, we're live. All right, bye." And I'm sat here by myself, like, hey.
Yeah. Catatonic, what's going on? Sorry, I've just woke up, by the way, so it's gonna take a while. Big Drogba, let's go. Lee thought I was having a night off. I was meant to be having a night off, but
yeah, it's still a night off. We're in the office right now. He's working.
Yeah, it is kind of a night off. Although we're starting late because apparently to me, clocks are really difficult. We was meant to start an hour ago, but obviously by real time, as in GMT, you know, it's still only 11 o'clock. So, you know.
So it's only a 4-hour difference between you and me right now, because it's 7 for me and 11 for you.
It's 11 at the moment, yeah.
Yours changes in what, 2 weeks from now or something?
Yeah,
like
it's always
a couple of weeks behind.
Couple of weeks after, yeah. Just woke up. Isn't it midnight in England? No, it's only 11. It's only 11 in England at the moment. Cool. All right. Well, we won't mess about. You know, we've spoken enough rubbish for how long? A couple of minutes. Let's get cracking. Are we on both Kick, YouTube, both going? Yeah.
YouTube I have, but Kick is so terrible. I'm just trying to promote the YouTube. That's all.
All right. Okay. Oh no, Kick's there. Yeah, I can see Shadow Lee. Yeah. That's cool. Take us away, sunshine. It's too early for me to be doing too much.
I was gonna do the whole script thing again when I got home, and then I was just like, nah, I can't yet. Maybe I will. I think Kata, we were going to do it. But speaking of Kata, beta's live on Kata. The Kata podcast is going to be on Saturdays. Cubicle Chat Saturdays, 2 times a week now. Tuesday or Wednesdays. We had Tuesday last week. I'm screwing everything up. Wednesdays, SOD. Saturdays, Kata. And the Kata beta has been live. You've been playing the Kata beta. I haven't been playing the Kata beta. I like saying Kata beta.
Yeah, you really do, don't you? Stop saying Kata beta. I'll do an intro this week for us. Welcome to Cubicle Chat, a season of discovery and cataclysm podcast brought to you by Classic Go and Scottejaye. My name is Scott, aka Scottejaye, aka bit of a noob. I'm joined by Go, my partner in crime. How you doing, Go?
I was trying to think of one of your tune names from like your private servers, like Blue Balls or something. Like, yeah.
My mage, Sick Ducker. Yeah, that one's quite a good one. Always gets comments on YouTube. They're like, "Oh my god, that mage name." Because I always
where'd you get that
subtly try and get the name in the video. But yeah. Oh, there you go. I've done it this week. So carry on. That was me. I'm out of breath now.
I was out of town the whole week, and I just got
back.
It was
nice.
Yeah. I didn't stream once. I almost went live last night, and I was like, nah, I'm just going to chill, wait for the podcast, and then do some catching up. But super chats while we're live helps us out, supports us, keeps us coming back now twice a week. So any super chats during the show, if you have a question for us, for myself, Scotty, or our special guest this week, hit the super chat button, give us a little dinero, and we'll see your message. We'll put it up on the screen. Everybody can see what you had to ask us. If it's something embarrassing, it's going to be on the screen. So embarrass yourself if you want to. We've had that happen before. It hasn't happened in a while. Last time it happened, it wasn't from a super chat. It was from a guest. They had a mate in the background whip out their
a testicular accident during a podcast, you know. to
And
be
that's not going
expected.
to happen tonight. I've put the disclaimer out to the guest. I was like, "Hey, this can't happen." So they've been warned. Scotty, have your finger ready on the end stream button though, just in case.
He looks trustworthy to me. I don't think there
Yeah.
will be
Oh yeah.
I don't think there'll be any genitalia slippage going on during this podcast. Maybe to some people's disappointment. It made me laugh at least, even though it was a little bit dangerous for the channel. But still. Cool.
It's been a while since we've talked about that. I had to bring it back up. The flame was dying. I had to bring up the ball sack again.
We've got to keep it alive. So, what are the plans today? Go on the basis this is a new guest, has it never been on any of our podcasts? And I just really touch on what Go said. Obviously, just in case you've not watched any of the other episodes recently, the whole point of us doing Season of Discovery on Wednesday and Cataclysm on Saturdays is so we can stay on topic. And if you like Season of Discovery but hate the thought of playing Cata, then Wednesday is the episode that you want to watch. If you love Cata and you're not bothered about Season Discovery, Saturday is the episode you watch. And obviously the thumbnail will represent that going forward. So I haven't bothered tonight, mainly because I made the thumbnail, well, didn't make it, reused the thumbnail about 30 seconds after waking up and being told that I'm late for my own podcast. So yeah, it was a bit rushed, but there'll be a clear difference, you know what I mean? You'll be able to see in your feed, oh, that's the Season Discovery one, I don't even want to watch that. I just thought I'd put it out there. Yeah, so what are we doing? What are we doing? Go.
We've got a list that somebody sent to you. I think you were going to announce who that person was. You didn't let me know who it was, but there was a list of some quality of life suggestions that Blizzard could possibly implement in the Season of Discovery in Phase 3, I guess. And we're going to do a little bit of speculation. We speculate here and there sometimes, but we're going to go through this list bullet point by bullet point and say, no, that's a shit idea. Or, man, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to have that like right now. And then a couple of us might have some ideas of our own that are off of this list.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was definitely listening to everything you just said and I weren't reading chat and like laughing to myself. 100% the focus was all on you, mate. Yeah, as always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think we need to. I can't risk saying anything now in case it's something you've already said. So, I mean, if you're happy with everything you just said, Go. Should we get the guest on?
He hasn't left yet. We didn't scare him away, so yeah, let's bring him on. It's somebody that I found late night for my time, early their time. But I go on Twitch occasionally and I type in, Balanced Druid, and then there's usually like nobody that's streaming Balanced Druid stuff. And I lucked out this night and I clicked on their Twitch and it was like Balanced Druid, No Murgon, like raid. And I was like, oh, sick. And I clicked on it and they were playing Mage. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I know that they play Balanced Druid. I've seen them play Balanced Druid amazingly. And they play every single class as well. And it's the homie Denzo. I see that you already have him up there on the screen. So Denzo, welcome.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hello, mate.
How are you, GHO? Hello, Scotty.
Hello. We're going to grill you, by the way. We're going to put you through the paces. Like, it's not as easy as just coming on and then, having a chat about Season of Discovery or whatever. We need to
Right.
grill you and find out everything about, you, what you play, what your plans are. That's it. Nothing too personal.
For sure.
Mainly just keep it gaming related.
Yeah, I'll address the boomy thing. I did do a boomy Nomragon, and then you joined when I was AoE farming on my mage, I'm pretty sure. And I actually main a mage, and a warlock. So you joined at the wrong time, unfortunately.
No, it was fun. Even though you weren't playing Balanced Druid, and that's what I usually just watch. You were playing Mage. I used to play Mage all the way up through Warlords of Draenor, I think. So I still vibe with the Mage play. And Scotty's been playing Mage. I've been watching Scotty play Mage, and it's really drawing me back. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll chill, watch some Mage play.
I think I watched the last podcast, and you're talking about it. Wrath of the Lich King, though, right? You're playing Mage on that?
No, I play Mage on
you're
everything.
playing... Oh, okay, yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
main Mage on Sod, main Mage on Wrath and Cata now.
Yeah, he rerolled Mage after Sod Phase 1 on every other game. And he was like, "Oh yeah,
Wow.
I'm playing
Okay.
Mage Kata, I'm playing Mage Wrath, I'm playing Mage Sod," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I just enjoyed it. It's the first time I've played a caster properly, you know, as a main, ever. I've
Yeah.
always been Feral Druid, Holy Paladin, Ret Paladin. You know, it's always been Druid or Paladin, or Monk. If we're talking Mr. Pandaria afterwards, but
Very
then
different.
yeah, exactly, very different. And I just love the mage. I love. That's the one. So with Season of Discovery, like if I could just take something out of it and put it somewhere else, I would love for mage healer in Kata. I've said it before. Like I love the mage healer playstyle. Obviously, I was pumping for a few weeks as fire. But
Of course.
I just enjoy healing. Like you know, it is quite fun. Well, actually, when I heal with another person, it'd be more fun if I was solo healing. But when I'm having to heal with another person, it's quite boring actually.
Yes. Yeah. I have not seen solo mage healing yet. Most of the guys I've seen running in like past runs and that kind of thing have been doing Shadow Priest solo healing.
Yeah.
So they run Shadow Priest for 4 out of 6 bosses, and then for 2 of them they play Holy. But yeah, mage could work, especially with that new rune, the Chrono whatever static, that one that takes
Chrono
hours to
static
go get, and then
preservation. It's not actually that bad. You can solo that. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, no, I did solo it. I just did it the wrong fucking way around.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
You did the same thing? Oh my god.
Left the cougar till last.
Yeah, and then you do a wowhead search and then looked up the comments and went, oh my god, I've spent like the last couple hours here doing nothing.
Exactly that. You almost just could have been sat behind me while I was playing, and because that is exactly what I done. But no, I love it, man. Like Mage in Season of Discovery, it's so good that it instantly made me go, do you know what? Like my plans all along has been rep main in Kata. Like it was always going to be rep main in Kata. But then I was like, nah, man. Like Fire in Kata is amazing anyway. Obviously, I've got every class in Kata on different servers. You know, level 85 and geared and raided on all of them. But I didn't get the bug then, which is what I found strange. You know, as in, like when I was raiding every week on Shadow Priest, Fire Mage, Ellie, you know, literally raiding every week, doing all tier 11 content, and I never once thought, oh, do you know what? This could be my main. It weren't until I played Sod, and I don't know, it was weird.
It's not that weird. I've never been a mage main myself either. It was Wrath of the Lich King where it took over. When you got all those tier bonuses, you played around with Living Bomb, and like it's very similar to Season of Discovery actually. So I can see that. Like I was a Warlock main up until then. And yeah, I main swapped, and then for Season of Discovery it did the same thing. It's had a similar play style to Wrath of the Lich King, and one thing I've always done is I play over 4 accounts, and I strategically do it. I will always make a mage first, and I'll get it to max level, and then I'll make ults on the other 3 accounts I have, and I'll boost them all at the same time. Because I like to play every class, and I don't want to level them naturally to max level one by one, you know? So going into any expansion, I'll always do a mage first, and then it'll be my main now, and then I'll just boost everything else up.
Yeah, that'd bore me senseless. like I know it's very efficient, and like I applaud it. But man, I get bored boosting people for gold, let alone boosting myself for I don't know. But anyway, go. Let's start grilling him. Come on, we want to know everything about him before we get onto what little news there is.
All right, let's go.
The first question I always have to ask is Horde or Alliance, because there is a wrong answer.
I play both, so
that's the wrong answer. You have to choose it. No.
Probably, I mean, for Season of Discovery Alliance, I have one Horde toon, and I played in Phase 1, and then kind of fell out with the people there. I just wasn't having that much fun playing Horde over there, and then I was on Living Flame NA Horde, and then I just moved all my characters. I just started fresh on Crusader Strike Alliance with a couple of friends over there, and I've just been playing Alliance. Yeah. So Wrath of the Lich King, though, I main Horde, so you know, flavor of the month, right?
That's a PvP server for Crusader Strike. So you like being Alliance for PvP? Or is it for the PvE? Like, is it racials? Like, what's drawing you to the alliance?
Yeah, typically I'm a bit of a filthy min-maxer. So classic alliance, so vanilla, it's always alliance for their racials. And I play mainly PvE content, so raiding. It matters less so in Season of Discovery, I think, but I mean, still, I main a mage, I main a warlock. I'm gonna go gnome for intelligence, right? It's just, I could go orc. I had an orc warlock for their bonuses for the pets, but it just doesn't. It's not the same. So if you're gonna min max, you play a gnome, and I absolutely hate gnomes. I think they're the worst race out there. I'm sorry for you gnome enjoyers, but I play a little gnome female with pigtails. I've made it as cute as possible, and I actually hate it. But
yeah, we believe you, mate. Don't worry. That definitely sounds legit. Yeah, that's what I'd say as well. Like, yeah, I play a female gnome with little pigtails. I hate it. I swear to God, I hate it. I definitely don't have a picture of her next to the bed.
I embrace
it. A little bold, it's that or a bold little dude that looks, like a little garden gnome. I'm not about that. I'd rather the cute little gnome female. But that's why I play Alliance. There is no for the Alliance, for the Horde. Like, I don't care. And it's boring. It's a boring answer, but I play Horde in Wrath of the Lich King from TBC onwards. I literally am that player that played Alliance in vanilla, and then TBC came around and my whole guild re-rolled to Horde because the racials are better. Like, that's how, and we were in a speedrunning guild at the time. Like, it just is what it is. So I've always played the flavor of the month. People might hate me for it. It's fine. I don't really have a preference. I kind of like the Horde cities better. I like the aesthetic a lot more, to be fair. I mean, Stormwind's nice, you're a kid, you walked in there, the music goes off, you got the big statues and stuff, but I mean, there's something about Orgrimmar and Thunderbluff, which feels like home a little bit, so.
Thunderbluff seemed a lot better for getting the buff than Darnassus did in Phase 1, I must say.
For sure.
Yeah, obviously.
And Orgrimmar definitely feels, Orgrimmar, I would imagine, would feel a lot more better at the moment than Ironforge. Even though Ironforge is close to Noma, but
it's funny though. Everything you said there, I'm exactly the same. The group of people I play with are exactly the same. We was Alliance in vanilla, as in 2019 Classic. We was Alliance. I was Alliance back in 2004, but I didn't intentionally pick Alliance in 2004 because I didn't know. None of us knew what any of it meant. But yeah, I was Alliance and then went Horde TBC, and I'm Horde in Wrath. And yeah, that's a conscious decision, where we've sat there and gone, right, TBC's coming out. Are we going fresh? What are we going to do? And then we went Horde, and yeah.
For sure.
All right, your question, Scotty. I asked him the toughest one. So now it's easy questions from here on out. Yeah.
What versions of the game do you play, enjoy, maybe rank them? What are you looking forward to?
I'm playing Season of Discovery right now. I'm raiding once a week in Wrath of the Lich King currently. I was raiding 6 times a week before Season of Discovery. And I was doing 4 of them were my own raids / GDKPs. And I'd go to a few other people I knew. And as soon as Season of Discovery came out, went sort of more full-time towards that. Just because it might be just because it's flavor of the month. I wanted to check it out. Wrath is getting a little boring. At that time, it was like, I'm over ICC. So now I'm playing a lot of Season Discovery, raiding once a week in Wrath of the Lich King, but SOD is pretty much just Cataclysm waiting room for me. And I know a lot of people watching this will hate me for that, but I'm looking a lot forward to that at the moment than I am to future phases of Season Discovery. Hopefully we talk about it today. I've got a lot to say about it and why I'm not enjoying it as much as I did in Phase 1. Do
it now.
If they change it,
go for it. Go for it. Just take it away.
Yeah. I mean, look, the main thing for me right now, which doesn't feel very good, is the lack of content. Is the main thing. So You start phase 1, you've got everything to do, you've got a bajillion runes to get, you've got to make gold, you've got to do all your professions properly, and then you've got to farm pre-bis, then you're going into BFD from there. Going into phase 2, all my characters, I have one of every class, they're all in phase 1 bis. So I have one of every class, they're all in bis. So not one single one of them is not bis, because I ran GDKPs in phase 1 and I was able to get all my characters geared. So I go straight from phase 1 bis. I don't have to farm any pre-bis, really. I can go straight into Numeragon. I sit there and I either boost myself to 40 or I go into a Scarlet Monastery spam and lose my mind for 18 hours. I do 2 to 3 STVs on each character and I'm done. It's raid log time and it feels empty. Phase 2 feels empty at this point. And don't get me wrong, there are people that are watching this that are casual gamers, and that's fine. Casual gamers are what make this game popular. And I understand that, you're a streamer, you can play heaps, and that's true. I can. But even in the casual gamer's eyes, I think once you've done one character, there's nothing pushing you to make a second one or level that second one to 40 or raid on it. I am a big GDKP advocate. Yeah.
You mentioned at the start that obviously you rolled whatever race and faction for PvE because that's what you enjoy doing. Do you not enjoy PvP at all?
It's I think in Season of Discovery it's like a means to an end for me. I do it because I need some of the best gear from there. Yeah. But I wouldn't call myself a PvPer. I think if there was Arena, if they introduced Arena into Classic Plus or Season of Discovery, I would be about it. It's more controlled PvP. I don't really like... I like playing on a PvP server, and I don't get mad when I get ganked or, if I gank someone else. It's part of, like, the fun, right? But I wouldn't call that PvP, really, in my eyes. And I don't call STV PvP. That's just a clusterfuck of just people running at each other. I think controlled 1v1s, duels, arena, that's more PvP, and I'm about that. I don't necessarily do them. I prefer raiding. I prefer making gold by, AoE farming or, that kind of gameplay. But I would definitely, I would do arena and Wrath of the Lich King and TBC.
So would you say
that? Because
it's just so tying all that together. It's just your views, of the game or of phase 2 compared to phase 1, really align with mine. They're like almost identical. It's like we're both reading out off the same script. It's the lack of PvE content that I'm not saying it ruins Season of Discovery for me, but it means that there's less time investment needed by me. As in I'm still raiding on Season of Discovery, every lockout, going and doing Nomrigon. Outside of that, I don't feel like there's anything to do because, firstly, I can't be bothered to farm gold on a seasonal server. I just don't care. And PvP, like you said, I went and done STV to get what I need from there. Outdoor world PvP as Arcane was quite fun, when I was running around, but obviously it loses its charm fairly quickly. I think they need to think about that in future phases. Like, how do they keep dungeons a bit more relevant? How do they make the phase 3 gear significantly more powerful? So actually, even if you're in full Nomrigon Bis, you almost feel compelled to go and do these dungeons to get gear before you go into the raid. It's like we missed a whole area of content by not really needing to do dungeons if we played phase 1. And if you AoE, like spell cleave farmed in SM all the way, you got pretty much the majority of the things that you want anyway, because the only other option of where to go and get gear would be like Razorfen Downs, which, I did. When we got to level 39, you don't need, exactly, you don't need it, but when we got to 39, we all had what we needed from Scarlet Monastery, so for the last level, we just went to RFD and farm there instead and got what we needed. So we dinged 40, and it's like, right, don't need dungeons. I feel like there just needs to be a bit of an incentive to actually run dungeons. Like, I would log on there, and this will get people to hate like what I'm about to say, which is fine. It's great. I love it. If Random Dungeon Finder was in the game, I'd log in and I'd go and do a random dungeon. But I'm not looking at LFG bulletin board through loads of spam where the vast majority of people looking for people for dungeons are not even level 40. Yeah, it's all like level 36, 37 mages, like looking for mages for SM. Like if I queued and ended up in one of those, then fine, like whatever, I'll just stay and I'll do it. But yeah, that would make a big difference for me. But yeah, that's probably no secret amongst the people that will watch this podcast because I'm a big advocate for RDF, and I always will be. Like I'm lazy.
Yeah, to add to that point, even if they added like the emblems that they have in Wrath of the Lich King that you can do from certain dungeons to then be able to get like not BIS gear, but like good gear that would be an upgrade from, the previous phases BIS. A lot more people would do them. The dungeons would feel like would be a lot more popular. They'd feel more full. Like there's a reason to do them. But right now, the upgrades, especially if you're a returning player from phase 1, they're just meaningless. And obviously, if someone starts fresh in phase 2, they're going to find a lot more to do. But if you're an existing player, which most people are from phase 1, you're gonna find definitely a lack of content very, very soon. Unfortunately, so.
I was watching a stream last night, and I have not done RFD yet. There was no reason for me to, and I was watching a stream, and it wasn't the streamer that was in there that I was looking at. There was a Boomy in their group, and I was like, "Why is this Boomy in RFD? Like, there's nothing for them. Like, what do they do? Like, get out of there!" But I want to run that dungeon, but there's nothing pulling me out there. I'm not gonna run down there and do it for nothing.
Yeah. Well, you could get summoned there, and then you ain't got to run.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a big issue here with just the power level of previous tier, like previous phases gear, BIS gear to, like I'm telling you right now, I just did a Nomar and one of my mates got his fresh hunter to 40. And I'm talking about this guy had full greens, like he had Defias rings, level 20 rings on, like he was missing a headpiece. Like he came into Nomar, it's fine. I can clear it. It doesn't matter. Like he's a good player. The pilot is always more important than what gear score someone has. The guy's doing the mechanics. It's okay. No worries. We clear it. We cleared it a bit slower than we would have normally. Who cares, right? So even the fact that I can bring this guy in who's in full greens, and it might be a little bit of a different situation because he's a 99 passer on these other characters, but it speaks volumes, like the raid isn't that hard. And obviously the last 2 bosses are for pugs, but for a lot of people, it really isn't. And there's just the issue of like, he doesn't need to go and farm pre-BIS. I mean, the only reason he would need to is to get into random groups when they have like a gear score requirement or, they gear check you or whatever. But now he has 6 out of 6 on his logs on that hunter. And they're grey passes, but people are still going to bring him because he's got experience now, right, on that character. So
yeah, and he's full greens. He's probably still got more health than a mage as well. A mage in full BIS. I can one-shot myself with Pyroblast on the reflect mobs in Gnome Rigon.
I've stopped using Pyroblast on those mobs. I literally just double Flame Strike now and Blast Wave, and then just Arcane Explosion or one them. Like, I've killed myself like twice now on them.
Sorry,
let me pump you up. Let me pump you up a little bit here. So you've rated on all 8 classes for one faction in phase 1. How were your parses like on those tunes? Are you in there? You're like 25 average because you're multi-classing so much, or are you carrying your weight?
3/4 of them are like 95 plus. Yeah. Mage 99s, Warlocks 99s.
And it's so you're healing and stuff too, right? Are you tanking at all as well?
I only healed on my Holy Paladin, and I played Holy Paladin in phase 1 because I didn't want to play ret or tank. And yeah, my healing passes are like 95. It's not a hard class to play. Honestly, I just got every class to max level because I wanted to do it. It's just the goal, it's fun to do it. And because I was running GDKPs at the time, I had an incentive to run on every single class. Like even if I don't care about it, I'm making gold. And I ended up in full BIS on my Holy Paladin anyway. So that's an example. And I think I I was healing on my priest. Priest was probably my worst play class. Yeah. I'm not a healer by nature. I'm definitely a DPS monkey when it comes down to it. Yeah.
I find healing on the mage really fun,
yeah.
just because it's obviously I'm a big fan of atonement healing as a priest, and it's more complicated than that actually, but it's equally fun.
I haven't done it yet. I might need to try, but when I play my mage, I get like blinders on and I just go full blast mode. I need to play fire mage because it's my favorite class by far, and it's that and my destruction warlock, right? So I will try healing, but I don't really want to step into that position because I'm not a healer by nature. I would do it if it's necessary. Like even in Wrath of the Lich King, I have a Holy Paladin full bis because it's just a needed class, not because I like playing it. Like I would run a GDKP, I couldn't find a good Holy Paladin, so I'm like, looks like I'm playing Holy Paladin today, and I'd probably hate the next 3 hours of my life a little bit. But
I got a question for you about runes. So 8 classes in phase 1. There was 12 runes per class. That's like 100 or so runes. Did you collect every rune, or did you just get like the maybe 3 or 4 that you needed for your specific role? And then in phase 2, how does that feel trying to level up alts and also get a lot more runes for all your classes as you're leveling up?
Right. I got all the runes for mage, and that's it. And then all the rest of the classes, I only got the runes I needed for raiding. Completely min-maxed it. Like, I don't care about the other runes. They don't mean anything to me. I'm only raiding on them, so it's whatever. The question about phase 2 runes it's a little tricky, right? Because I'm not incentivized at the moment to level all of my characters to 40. And I would if GDKPs were allowed. That's just how it is. And it's an unpopular opinion. A lot of people disagree with them. But if I had that in the game, they would all be 40 by now. I would have 10 characters at 40 right now. It's not a lie. I would have boosted them all with my own mage. I would have done it. Just for the fact that I could start farming that gold and start doing this and start the process. The plan was actually to make gold from GDKPs and then have viewer competitions and stuff with my Twitch. Do PvP tournaments or something, or maybe have they can put in a keyword and we'll do a raffle or something, and use that gold to to promote community sort of events. And that sort of was scrapped when they sort of got rid of it. But bringing it back to the point of runes, I've only done it on the characters that are now 40. So I have 4 40s right now. I have 2 mages, a warlock, and a boomy. And I don't think I'm going to do it on anything else. I've done the Dark Rider quests, those runes, twice now, and I want to shoot myself. In game, of course, sorry.
Twice? Why did you do it twice? Once was enough.
Because... yeah, but I needed the rune on this other character. I've leveled a warlock and I needed on it as well. It's a needed rune to raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just you do it 2 times and you're like, why am I doing this again? And then you got the the Arathi Highlands Booty Bay, the one where you kill the night elf in the secret dwarf farm with the rowboat and stuff. I've done that multiple times as well, and I'm at the end of it. I'm going to get all my characters to 40 and I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm not going to get runes. I'm not going to raid. There's no reason to. I don't want to, I raid on 1 guild with 1 character. I pug the other 2. I'm not raiding on my 4th. And there's no incentive for me to do that. Yeah.
So what about professions then? Because I feel like professions and runes is kind of about the same time investment if you want to level those up.
Yeah.
So are you maxing out professions to min-max yet, or you wait until 60 and then maybe min-max at that point? Yeah.
Yeah, just my mage. I've only done the epic head quests on my mage. I haven't leveled my professions on anything else. I actually had leveled leatherworking on my mage with the tailoring at the start because I made a bunch of gold from handing in those salvages, and then you got the crafting items from those, and then I was able to flip them, and I made 1,000 gold just doing that flip. in the first couple of days. And then I think a content creator made a video. I think it was Sadako, and it all went to shit. But it's fine. So I actually still have leatherworking on my mage. I need to probably drop that. But I'm just not motivated, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I'm still getting 99s. Like, I'll get 100s maybe if I swap to engineering. I just don't care. I don't care anymore. Like, there's nothing motivating me to do this stuff, right? It's unfortunate, but it's the truth, you know.
I don't think I could play a mage again without
content.
alchemy. Alchemy is just so strong. It's ridiculous, and I don't hear anyone talking about it either. And I've not said anything about it. Well, on the podcast, obviously, but never mentioned it in a video because I don't want to get changed. But having mana gem, a normal mana potion, and irradiated potion, and none of them share a cooldown is absolutely mental. Like, it's crazy.
Okay.
I don't even need to use Evocate.
Can you
Is that
demonic
just
rune
mana
too?
back?
Just mana and spell power.
Oh,
it's
and
mana
health
and
too,
spell
right?
power.
I
And
think it's all
health,
three,
yeah,
isn't it?
all three,
Yeah,
yeah. Health, mana, and spell power.
But can you
So
demonic
if I
rune,
didn't-
or is rune with the mana gem? Like, do those share cooldowns? Do you know? Because
Dark Rune don't share a cooldown with anything, as far as I know.
I thought it did with like Lockrock. I didn't know if Lockrock shared with the mage.
It
mana
shares
gem.
with Lockrock, and then it shares with like those things you can get from Felwood later on.
Oh, okay.
The Dragon's Breath or whatever they're called, or
Yeah. The Echo.
you know,
right? Or the Eco.
Yeah.
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 I was going to say, it's never
They-
shared a
they-
cooldown with anything I've used. Obviously, I was feral. I used to use them for
Yeah.
power shifting, so...
So the mana part of that, would it be useful though if you're killing the bosses so fast you don't go, I don't have to Evo when I raid on it. So I'll use my mana gem. Yeah.
I mean, as a healer, yeah, it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
As a healer, it's amazing. But even for just burst, obviously, like, as soon as like on the pool, using the health potion literally as a cooldown. I love it.
That makes sense.
But yeah, as I say, as a healer, it's more useful. But then again, like, we've had fights where like the menagerie. Sometimes I need to Evo as fire. I'm talking about as fire now. And even the last boss,
Okay, yeah.
if my side where I'm in charge of the buttons on one side, if they're never spawning out of those and it's the other side and I'm not getting the mana back from those, then I would need Evo to get through it as well. But that's just...
Okay.
The last boss is not as important because you do get time. You get downtime between phases to obviously Evo without losing any damage. But I don't want to Evo.
Exactly, yeah.
If I can use alchemy and like never need to Evo on a fight, then that's time I can be DPSing.
And
Sure.
they did just change it yesterday or the day before. Warcraft logs did, where they took the downtime out between the phases of that fight. So even if it did count towards the logs, it wouldn't matter to pop an Evo there. But just a little change that they put out there that I don't know if we were going to talk about. That was like the only thing. There was like some rollback for the last boss. So if your logs looked a little weird the last couple days for that fight and you had like 100 parse or something, and then it went down to like an 80, then that's probably why.
Yeah, I saw that. Let's I know a few people that freaked out.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I 100 that one. Yes. And I was like, no.
Have you got any more questions for him before we move on?
No, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, anything else you would like to tell us about yourself? Let's give him the floor.
I'm going to get some ice, but I am listening.
I
Yeah.
think we covered most of it. I stream over on Twitch, Denzo TV, twitch.tv/Denzo TV. I just started streaming like probably just over a month and a half ago. Before then, I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and someone was telling me you should stream. You've got a good voice, or something like that. I think I was in a Discord call, raid leading people, and thought, hey, I play this much of this game. I probably should just do it. So yeah, bit of a new streamer. So yeah, any support's awesome. So I'm glad to be here today.
Do you play any retail at all? Like when did you stop playing retail? Should I say?
Legion.
Or did you come in? Okay, I was like, or maybe you came in just for classic. I've heard a lot of people say that they just joined SOD for the first time.
I first started playing World of Warcraft very seriously in 2019 for Classic. It was because of COVID, funnily enough. You're stuck at home, you're getting paid to be at home, basically, and I no-lifed Classic, I will say, and played a lot. Before then, I was playing mainly MOBAs, so like Dota 2, that kind of thing, which I think correlates to why I like to play every class. I really like to play every class in World of Warcraft because I like to play like 20 to 30 heroes, 40 heroes, in MOBAs. And I just get bored. Like, I think I low-key have ADHD, and I just get bored of playing the one class all the time. So, I really do like to try everything at least. I might not be very good at all the classes, but, just being able to play them all feels good, I think.
That's the first thing you've said where we're different, actually. I don't. I love just having one character and putting everything into that one character, getting... Yeah, absolutely, just no life in it. I hate having alts, even like even one. Like in Cataclysm, I'm gonna have like 3, which I'm dreading the thought of that already. But
really?
That's purely because of the how the lockout system's gonna work. But yeah, I like to have I like to have a character which is my main, and then preferably another character to do GDKPs on to pay for my for my game time, and literally that's it. That's me sorted. But Cat is a bit different. I'm gonna have a lot more.
I'm lucky there. I've paid my WoW time forward 4 years.
Jeez.
with gold from Wrath of the Lich King for all of my 4 accounts. So we're pretty chill there. Yeah, there was a point that it was like 4,000 gold for a month, and I was making 150k every GDKP I ran. So there was no reason not to do that. So that's where we're sitting right now. So
it's gone up a lot though, the WoW token. On our server, I mean, I was buying game time for about 6k, I think, and now it's like 11k or something.
Definitely a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it's due to SOD. A lot of people have pulled their gold out and just like bought game time, and then it's made it increase because they're probably quit and gone and played SOD, or like come back in Kata, or maybe I know a lot of people that just don't want to play Kata at all. So could
certainly,
be that as well.
Certainly is a mixed bag.
I wonder if they leave the WoW token in for Kata, or if they take it out. And
no, it will be in. That will never go anywhere now.
All right, Scotty, transition us over to the quality of life list that you sent me. And,
we'll just go through one. I'm not gonna put it on screen. We'll just go through one point at a time. Some of them will be as simple as all of us saying yes, no. I mean, some of them will be very, very quick conversations, but there's quite a list. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, but it's Frycia, so Frycia or Frickia. Yeah, something along those lines.
They're in chat right now, yeah.
Oh, good, hello. They can tell me how to say the name then. Let me pin him on screen. I need a pronunciation. I'm just gonna call you Fry. I think that's probably safer. And and as I get more and more through this bottle of rum, I think Fry I will be able to manage no matter what time it is. Cool. But anyway, Fry sent me a wish list of quality of life changes for Season of Discovery. Last week we spoke a bit about runes that we'd like to see, but I'd like to talk a bit more about that because we did really rush. We didn't cover all classes. We didn't really discuss it a lot because we was on a bit of a deadline, weren't we? We had to get off a certain time. So maybe we'll touch on that for the classes that we play, even alts that we play, because there's a few that I'd like to talk about. But we'll start with the quality of life stuff. So the first one on the wish list is 41-yard nameplates. Yes.
Do we have the same wish list?
Well, I've got unless it's been edited slightly.
Well, you were a bit pissed last night when you sent me the screenshot, so you might have cropped that top one out or something.
Let me have a look what you've got.
41-yard nameplates, though, I'm fine with it. I know Blizzard's argument was, it allows you to see around corners further. Like, I don't fucking care. If you get through a cave because you had a 41-yard nameplate and you couldn't get through that cave with a 21-yard nameplate distance, then It doesn't matter to me. Like, put it in the game. That's fine.
I would like to see it implemented in just raids or just dungeons. I think being able to target something from further away, especially for things like tanking,
Yeah.
it's really handy. Or something where you're wanting to set up, like, okay, I'm going to living flame this target, and it's going to run through this other target, and like tick on all of them. I think that's good. I think in the open world, it provides maybe a bit too much advantage. The cave example, you're in a cave. If you can see every mob in there, doesn't feel as good. But I mean, hey, it's sort of personal preference, right?
Well, it was like they said, so, they want the world to feel dangerous. And it does feel dangerous when I'm one-shotting everything that I see with Lava Burst. But, yeah, so yeah. I get what they mean. But, that's what I mean. It's like, well, the world don't feel dangerous in Season of Discovery. I've had a harder time leveling on Kata with no heirlooms and no nothing than I did on Season of Discovery. Leveling my mage on Wrath with heirlooms recently, at low level, it was literally harder to kill stuff than it was on Season of Discovery. Like, the world is it's less dangerous than the games that are meant to be easier to level in the open world. But obviously, a big part of that is the power of the runes that you get. Even if you don't go around straight away and get someone to summon you all over the world getting the super, super powerful runes, even the first ones you start with, are insane. Like Boomies being able to cast Wrath with no mana cost. You compare that to leveling a Boomy on Wrath from level 1.
And Kata. I started playing Kata and I was like, dude, like, why is my Wrath like emptying my mana bar? This is shit.
Yeah.
You're spoiled now, mate.
Oh yeah. Like now, like I need that in Kata, or Kata is just a shit expansion.
It's one of my biggest complaints for like the 41-yard nameplates. When I go from, I'm on Wrath and then I go to Season of Discovery and I'm like, are my nameplates off? I keep toggling them on and off. Like, what is going on? Why can't I? I can see the shit on the bottom of his shoe. He's that close. Why can't I see his nameplate? Yeah.
I don't care. Honestly, at the end of the day, if they put it in, they put it in. If they don't, they don't. I think, yeah, it's all personal preference. And like, if people want to play with lower, like, nameplates, like lower yard nameplates, then just turn it down yourself. If you really want to give yourself that challenging experience,
there you go.
Like, yeah.
I like it.
All right.
They might have also said that there was a technical limitation, but they've said that for other things, and then come to find out they were able to tweak things. So maybe later on down the line in SOD we'll see the nameplate change, but I would expect it in phase 3.
So I actually think that they didn't say there was a technical limitation on this one, but I actually think that there is. I actually think that that's the reason. It's nothing to do with caves. It's nothing to do with any of that. The reason is if they put 41-yard nameplates in on Season of Discovery, then it's going to be on Classic Era. And then there would be uproar.
Yeah.
I think because it's actually a part of the in-game settings, in the options, in the interface menu, I think that would be really problematic for them to only have that on Season of Discovery, not Hardcore and Classic Era. That's my guess. I'm no game developer, but that would make more sense to me.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense. Have you noticed that there's like a store in Season of Discovery as well, and it's in the game because it's on the same client as the classic WoW. So of Era, right? So you can go in, you can go to the shop, you can press like character transfer, and nothing happens. But they've got it there, and they can't remove it because it shares that same client. So it wouldn't surprise me if the nameplates is the same thing. It's just you can't change one without the other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty. What is the next one? The higher enchanting rods?
Yep.
Okay, perfect, because that's where I'm at. All right.
Well, you might as well read it now. You just got half of it.
This might work for other professions as well. Like I'm thinking of engineering. So the bullet point is higher enchanting rods work for weaker rods. That's a lot of R's for more inventory space. So in Classic, you have like your bronze rod, your silver rod, your gold rod. There's like 6 or 7 rods for enchanting, all the way up to 300. and each one of those takes up backspace. And if somebody needs a lower level enchant, they need to use their lower level rod to do that enchant. So yeah, like having one rod take care of the lower level rods, so there's less inventory space. That works for me. But yeah, for engineering, I like having the whatever it's called in Wrath, where it's like the one item for everything, and it takes up less inventory space. I'm all for it.
Well, so just on that, so because again they can't just they wouldn't be able to just change that per se. It would have to be a new recipe. So I mean, in terms of it being a nice quality of life, addition and something else to put in Season of Discovery, it could even be a recipe drop from the level 50 raid. You know, a wondrous rod, and it acts as all rods. You know, like something like that. So they don't actually change the way the rod system works now, but enchanters can try and get this really low drop chance enchanting recipe to be able to make this new rod. And then they could even use a material that goes into that rod is from, let's say, blacksmithing, you know, what they're going to get for making stuff in, you know, so again, you've got that crossover between professions. That would be my take on it. I think, yes, it absolutely should be in. No, they shouldn't change the existing rods. They should add a new rod. Thoughts?
Yeah, Denzo, what do you think? Is
not the
inventory
biggest
space?
You don't care, do you?
bad for you,
I
or-
don't give a shit.
I
I'm
don't
still not
really.
gonna. I'm still not gonna level enchanting. Do what you want.
Yeah.
No, I've not leveled enchanting once. I'm not gonna lie. I'll just pay someone to do it for me. I'd rather go farm gold myself and pass it over to someone else. If that's a player issue and people are feeling hurt, with that lack of inventory space, sure, change it. While you're at it, go add portable holes. Big 20 slot bags in the game as well. Like
Yes.
it doesn't really change too much though. So
Put
it's not
Harris
classic
Pilton in
anymore.
the
Let's
game.
be real. Yeah, this isn't vanilla. Like, so any of these changes you make, if it makes the player base happy, so be it. But I don't think you're ever going to make them all happy. Some people are going to riot regardless, right? So.
Okay, the next one is so again. I've got a view on this because yes, I just think we should all say yes before I read out what it actually is. But instant mal between characters. So I'm assuming he means characters on your BattleNet account, opposed to
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely yes, 100%.
Yes.
But I'd like to take it'd be nice to see that a step further, where I know it's very difficult to do because you would need a guild advancement system in Season of Discovery, which I would have actually liked to have seen from the start, to be fair. But guild mal, so being able to send mal instantly to people within your guild as well, because that obviously again we're going to get that in Kata, instant mal, instant guild mal. I just I like it. Definitely between your own characters.
That might be back to your point with it sharing the same client as Era, though. Like, how would they have a mailbox that would allow you to send mail instantly to yourself that works differently than on Era? Unless
Probably
it was
not
a
possible.
portable mailbox, they added a new engineer. But then engineering would be mandatory, unless they made it BOE. I'm going through all these things like characters, sure, and you could tie it to other professions as well. It needs leather for something. It needs blacksmithing for something. It needs an enchant on it. Yeah.
I think you're right. That's how they'd have to implement it. I don't think they'd be able to change it probably based on their client. So yeah, adding that, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think it's great. We need a way to send instant mail. It's infuriating when you're, this is why I have 4 accounts, so I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. I'll just log on to one of my meals in my city and just swap it over. But I can imagine how furious people get when they're like, okay, shit, I need my consumes raid. Let me just jump on my bank call. Yeah, I've got it. Send it over. Oh shit, 1 hour.
The amount of times I get people in the guild like, can you teleport to Ogrimmar and trade this over to my main? And it's like, oh man, yeah, why just instant mail? We'll just solve that. I'm like, oh, sorry, I ain't got any rooms of teleportation left. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I'm stuck outside Nomegon.
Yup.
Okay.
Stream might have died.
No, it's fine.
No, 2 people on YouTube, 3 people on YouTube said stream died.
Oh.
I still see it back on.
I was gonna say it looks fine to me. Maybe just try refreshing if you're having issues.
User error. No.
Let me just check. I might be wrong.
Yeah. 3 people. Like, yeah, if it was only 1, I might not have said nothing. But 3 people, I was like, eh. And Ashley's trustworthy.
Yeah. And my bit rate, everything looks fine. So yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know.
If it was just Nest, I would have been like, oh no, it's fine. It's just Nest's computer sucks.
Yeah. Is it? Are we all right though? Everyone now? As I say, if you're having problems, maybe just refresh. But it looks all right to me. Kick also looks fine. Yeah. I don't see any issues.
Cool, let's get it. This next one, I love this next one. All reputation rewards being account wide to avoid having to farm Warsong, Gulch, and Arathi Basin as an example on multiple characters. And I'm assuming it'd be like later on reps too. So the only thing with that would be like once you get to a certain break point, like you get to honored, then that would carry over to everything. Not like you grind up honored on one tune and then it's the same on all your other tunes, if that makes sense. Like if you hit revered on something, then boom, okay, you're revered now on all your tunes. But not, you could start grinding towards revered on one tune and then finish the revered grind on a different tune. It's a weird one.
So,
right?
Yeah, I think I brought it up before about a lack of content right now, right? To do in this phase. If they do that, because right now a big part of what you can do outside of raiding and STV is farming that rep. If they don't add new content, and maybe we can talk about possible new things they can add in later phases. If they don't do that, you're just removing more content from an already contentless phase. Do you know what I mean? So they really would need to make up and add more things if they're going to do that. Yeah, it's... to be fair, I've done it on one character. I've got the Exalted Braces on one character so far, and it would be awesome if I could get them on all of them because of this. But what else have I got to do? It's going to come to a point where I'm like, all right, let's farm Warsong Gulch, you know?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's actually the first one where I'm like, no, I do see I see more negatives to it than positives. Me being someone who, you know, is primarily going to be playing another version of the game, you know, it'd be great because it just means less time investment into alts if I wanted to start an alt. But at the same time, it is then removing a lot of stuff to do when you do level an alt. And I know I don't want to sound this to come out wrong, but you know, when you change main, so let's say you change your main, there does need to be a little bit of a not punishment, that's the wrong word, but you know, like you've done everything on your main, you've got all your runes. If you then can just create a new character and you've automatically got all your runes and you've automatically got like 3 or 4 pieces of biscuit from reputations, I don't know, that just wouldn't feel right. You know, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It just, to me, that wouldn't feel right. It's actually removing more content than it's adding. Well, it's adding none. It's adding none.
Can we come to a middle ground here? So maybe PvP and let's say the Waylaid supplies. I'm sorry, I don't remember the Alliance version of that rep. Whatever the new rep is called. Those not account wide, but like major cities account wide.
Well, what I would do if we're talking middle ground, and you wanted me to come up with a middle ground on the spot, when you're exalted on a character, you can buy a tabard that you can then send over, which is a bind on account tabard that you can send to alts, and they get 100% extra rep while wearing that tabard. So if you want Warsong Gulch rep on your alts,
or
no, doing the actual activity. So you'd have to be doing
like
Warsong Gulch.
Quest.
Yeah. Well, like, however you would ordinarily get the rep, if you're wearing the tabard for that reputation, you get double reputation. So you've still got to do the grind, but it's twice as quick.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good idea, honestly. I'm never going to be against removing these like things that make it the game a lot more easier for casuals to play. I think it's a good thing. Casual players make up a huge part of the player base, right? Which make this game popular. I think it's a good thing. But for me, if you're going to remove something, add something else. That's my main take from this. So I don't want to make the game even less like enjoyable because I've got nothing to do, right? And again, I'm a streamer, I play a lot, I'm in the minority, but I think you need to cater to everyone. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
what Cody said.
Kinda...
Hang on,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, was you gonna? Oh, okay. Was this
No.
to do with Cody's? No, okay. Cody's comment. So, this is one thing that I've been not complaining about, but one thing I've been critical about over the last few weeks. Is how some of these things are gonna. So, Dark Riders, we're talking about the Ratchet, the rep. The rep one, not so much because that's all fully soloable. That's fine. But the Dark Riders one in particular, Divine Storm Glyph, Rune, Metamorphosis, like anything that requires more than yourself to be able to do. And there's even some runes out there where it requires like 2 or 3 healers to be like, channeling on a corpse before you can get the rune. As we get further and further through the phases, those particular runes are just going to be more of a ball ache to try and get when there's less people leveling. So while it's not a big issue right now, I think when the vast majority of, let's say AQ's out, we're balls deep into level 60. Most people who take the game seriously have already got like lots of level 60 ults. Less people are joining the game because they feel like it's a seasonal server and it's like quite close to the end of its life cycle. Yeah, some of these quests they need to be changed. The runes need to be easily accessible so you can get the rune at the rough level that you're meant to. So let's say the Dark Riders, you're meant to get level 40. We'll just say 40. You shouldn't have to wait till you're 50 before you can go back and solo them because you can't find anyone to do it. I'm talking you're a new player. You've not got a guild. You're a new player. You don't really know anyone. You're playing on your own. That could be really, really quite poor. So whether it's added to the Waylaid Supplies rep, like, you get to friendly and it unlocks the runes up to level 25 that ordinarily require extra people. You get to Honored, and then up to level 40 runes become available that ordinarily would require other people. I don't know, however you do it, but they will need addressing at some point, or it's just going to be a nightmare. Especially as we get more of them. But there's probably going to be more added in Phase 3 that are going to require external help. So yeah, we'll see. Go on, next one. Go.
I can't imagine.
Oh, sorry, Dennis.
No, I was just gonna say I can't imagine what it will be like for a new player in phase like 4, coming to the game and you've got to get a bajillion runes and you're like, I need help getting. I can't get this. What's the one you're in? You have to the Frozen Trog. Oh, I need another mage with me. Can anyone help me cast Fireball on this Frozen Trog? No one's around. What can I do? It's. You're right. It all needs to be solvable at some point. Get rid of this. It's already going to be very, very frustrating as a new player. I can already see.
Yeah, and it is more just thinking about the future, isn't it? It's like right now, not a massive issue, but it will just become a bigger issue, more and more over time. So hopefully Blizzard have thought about it anyway. But Go, you was excited about this next one.
I was so excited. The NPC at start of dungeons and raid, or NPC, I guess, at the start of dungeons and raids that you can talk to and have dungeon/raid-wide world buffs while inside the raid dungeon to make collecting world buffs less of a chore and dying less of a pain. And I think I saw Denzo out of my peripheral there with a thumbs down. I'm with Denzo. Like, I think they had these on Chinese servers before they took Chinese servers away for Classic, where you could talk to an NPC and you could have like a full Chrono Boon of world buffs or something like that. And to me, it's like, nah, I don't agree with it. I think if you wipe with a world buff, you've lost it. But I can see the other side too, because I've been there where I've died on the first boss with my world buffs and I don't want to raid the rest of the raid. Like, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to sit there and fucking AFK on trash, especially I'm AFK on trash. And bosses, I don't care if I die. I'm not going to like give a fuck about my parse or anything at that point. So I can see the upside and the downside on this one, but at the end of the day, I think no.
If I had it my way, we'd be back to classic 2019. No chrono boons. We're getting real sweaty. People are dispelling. We're killing people with buffs. Like, I'm losing my mind because I spent 3 hours going to get a buff. Those are the funnest times I've had playing World of Warcraft. A lot of people disagree, but I think it's not very. It's not really healthy for the game, but I think part of World of Warcraft Classic Vanilla is going to get the world buffs. And even with Chrono Boon, you know, it makes it a bit safer, but not having to go and do that, like, you know, when Heart, you know, Heart of Hakar comes, watching like hundreds of people congregate in Booty Bay, it's a really cool thing to be part of. You know, I remember playing Hardcore recently, and you'd go there for Heart, and there'd be like 500 people just waiting, and then it'd go off and everyone's just like yelling stuff, and like it feels like a good party, you know. I don't want that to disappear. I don't want it to be like, we're in a raid, let's talk to the person at the front to get our buffs. I want to go do that. It gives you something else to do in the game as well, right?
My my very unpopular opinion. All right, I've got a love-hate relationship with world buffs, as in I understand that they're cool, and like I've got no issue. I go around and get them for every raid. Of course I do. You know, if Darkmoon Fair is in Elwyn Forest, I play Horde. I still go and get it. You know, I make sure that I get everything I can. The same way I wouldn't turn up to a raid missing consumables. You know, like I consider world buffs just another consumable. The thing is, the raids suffer for it. So Gnomeregan has to be tuned around not having world buffs. So it has to be tuned around no consumables, no world buffs, and you have to be able to clear the content without them. Which then means when you've got them, the content is easier. So I think it makes actually making new content like BFD, Gnomeregan, stuff like that bit more difficult, because they'll never tune a new raid around you having full world buffs, and the power that you get from full world buffs is a lot. You know, like Go just said, if he loses these world buffs, he's not passing. Of course not. The second I lose my world buffs, it's like, right, I'll just go on autopilot now. I don't care anymore. You know, like whatever. I'll try hard again next week until I lose it on the first trash pack. But you know, I didn't really. But you know what I mean. It's so for the actual health of the game, I think if we need to get it's almost borrowed power, which everybody hates. You know, it's like, I know it's not exactly the same, but it kind of is the same. You know, as in, if we physically need those to be able to pass, to be able to be competitive, to be able to clear raids, then obviously the raids are either too difficult or we're not powerful enough. You know, one or the other. So I would lean towards not having them, personally, at all.
So the question becomes, should well buffs exist, or should they not be removed on death? So it just lasts the full 2 hours. If you die, you still have them.
Not removed on death.
Yeah.
I could get on board with either of those things, because then that way, you know, with Chrono Boon, you know you're going to have it for the full duration of the raid. They can then make the raid a bit harder because you're expected to go and get world buffs, but guess what? By the time you get to the last boss, you'll still have them. You know, I could live with either of those, you know, them like not working in raids, or they persist through death. But as I say, I just think it makes Blizzard's job of tuning these raids more difficult, because they have to literally make sure that you know, someone who like Zach, I don't know if you're watching, someone like Zach can clear raids, you know, backpedaling, keyboard turning, you know, keyboard mouse clicking, sort of guy with no well buffs. You know, no pre-raid bis, and then it's like we still expect people of that level. We're going to call them all Zacks. We expect Zacks to be able to go in and clear the raid. You know, so then it makes the content ridiculously easy when you've got people that are obviously are very good at what they do, and they've got well buffs.
They were talking about. There was a question. It's probably at least a month old, if not more. I don't want to. I want to name drop people, but I don't want to name drop them, I guess, for this instance. But it was asked, like, should the raids be tuned for, like, sappers for engineering? Like, should they tune the trash packs and bosses for people having engineering and being able to use sapper bombs? And I think a lot of people were like no, like it shouldn't be tuned that way. So the same thing I think would apply for world buffs. Like, they definitely shouldn't tune the bosses for having world buffs. Like, world buffs, I think, should make the content easier, but it should be a challenge and should be a time investment to get the world buffs, not just getting it from an NPC. And Songflower, oh man, like going to Fellwood, is it Fellwood? And like you see a group of people like waiting for a Songflower, and you start to click, and then it fucks everybody else up. I did that once, and I felt bad. Now that I say it out loud, and I realize there's people watching, but yeah, like getting world buffs was an experience. Like, I like the Chrono Boon. Chrono Boon saved world buffs for me, because I didn't have to get the world buffs and then log out for 5 days and not play my tune. So as long as there's Chrono Boon, I'm fine with world buffs. But I don't. That could be a whole nother conversation. Like, what world buffs should we have at level 60? Should they keep all of the world buffs, or should they limit them to one world buff at a time, like per phase, in addition to Dark Moon Fair? Because I think they're on board with having Dark Moon Fair plus one world buff. But I don't know if we're going to see the Songflower, DMF.
Yeah, they'll have it all.
Rend buff, Onyxia Head. Like, Onyxia Head resets in like Stormwind. Is that going to be a thing? Like,
yeah,
the
probably.
Thing is, yeah, the thing is, you've got to think about what the player base wants, and people play classic vanilla because it's easy, because it's an easy game to play. You go in, you press your buttons, you get your loot, you're overpowered, you get all the world buffs, and Molten Core just drops in front of you, like BWL's a cinch, like go into AQ40, falls over. I think people like that, and a huge part of this demographic that play WoW Classic, they like easy raids, and this is why I think Cataclysm and Wrath of the Lich King are slowly losing popularity. These players don't want something very hard, so I think catering towards them is a good thing. It's going to make the game kind of boring for sweaty players or people that play a lot, like myself. But you have things like passing or speed runs to do if the content's easy, and I think that's fine. So I'm all for it. Bring the world buffs. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, again, I don't really care whether they're there or not. They're just, that's what I mean. I've got a love-hate relationship with them. I don't mind going around and getting them all. Yeah, but I am someone who I would like slightly harder content. I miss the days of not being able to go in and clear a raid in one night. I want to be challenged, and I'm sure there's guilds that didn't clear Gnomeregan on the first night, but yeah, I mean, it's not what Season of Discovery is about. I know that. The harder content's going to be in Cata.
Here's one for you.
100%.
So if they include an NPC, let's just bring it forward to like Molten Core. We're level 60. There's an NPC at the front of Molten Core. It gives you world buffs. Or if you don't get the world buffs, then the content is harder, and you get a reward for not having the world buffs.
Like a world buff check on each boss, and you get one extra item if you do it without world buffs.
Exactly. Yep. You get an extra item per boss as long as nobody has world buffs. Like, if you don't, once one raider, somebody could troll. I'm trying to think of how that would work, but yeah, like, as long as nobody had a world buff on a boss, you would get an extra item, and it would be a harder version of the boss.
Well, you'd have a weak aura check, wouldn't you? Like, literally, you'd just have a weak aura to check for world buffs across the raid, and I'd go, you've still got your world buff on, get rid of it, and then and I actually think that's possibly one of the best ideas you've come up with in 20 odd episodes of this podcast.
It took lemon vodka to get that drink to come to my head. So.
You need to drink more of it, mate, because I actually like that. Yeah, just one. One extra item.
It's red, though.
If Warcraft logs includes world buffless attempts and has a different category, I would love that. Like you're saying, no one has buffs. Yeah, and so if they will include that in season discovery, I know a lot of people that would actually do that. We wouldn't go get buffs. We'd just do it all natty. You know, go in there, smash it out, get hundreds on like just no buffs, because like it feels trivial when you do it with buffs, and then it becomes less about the mechanics and more about just like how quickly you can do something and how cheesy you can get away with like less healers, like less tanks, like more of a certain DPS. You know, like we're thinking, well, the guild I joined that's like a pass guild, they're thinking about running like 6 mages at some point for a certain boss, right? Like because it's just that much faster for higher passes. So like I kind of like that. If they do one without world buffs and like have a category for that in Warcraft logs, that'd be amazing. Very, very good idea.
Cool.
All right,
should we go on the next one?
Yeah, the next one, I think a lot of these, now that you spoiled this whole list, Scotty, by saying, oh, it's tied to era and hardcore realms. I think this one might also have that same issue. But I would like it. You remove the flight path anchor points so you can fly directly from point A to point B. So much time wasted just traveling. Yeah, flight paths take a long time. Even if there was just a way to charge extra, I don't remember what expansion that was. You could pay a little bit more. Maybe that was a private server thing. You could pay a little bit more money and your bird or whatever would fly faster to your flight point. Something like that I'm all for. And something else I thought about with this too is like maybe you could just teleport like from flight path to flight path. You don't have to wait.
Whoa, now.
I know.
That was a guild perk you're talking about, by the way. You go.
Oh, like
it was a guild perk. No, not pay more. It was just a guild perk where I think it was in MOP and it replaced mass summon.
Oh, okay. But they did it in Wrath. I think it was because there were so many people trying to take that Zeppelin to Northrend, and they were just like, yo, you can just talk to this NPC and it's just going to teleport you to Northrend. They never took that out. You can go there right now in Wrath and just teleport instantly from your major city out to Northrend. And I'd be okay with that if it still cost the same amount of copper or silver or whatever, or it was double, and then you could just teleport to the next place that you want to go. I'm for it. I'm over the vanilla friction. Let me be able to travel faster.
No, this one I like. I think it should stay exactly how it is. I think it is. Yeah, go play retail. Go you scrub. You want that stuff. Keep that stuff out my game. And do you know why?
No.
Because on a flight path,
I know why.
Yeah, I want it to take as long as possible because man's got to make a gin. Yeah,
you got to go take a piss. I know, exactly.
It's the time. Look, those flight paths are long, and that's good. That's the time to get up and stretch your legs and go out and get some fresh air and go and make a drink, have a piss, say hello to the wife, whatever you got to do. So actually, no, I do like that slight inconvenience sometimes because it leads to convenience in real life. So no, leave my flight paths alone.
I've got a compromise. I want to hear what Denz has to say first.
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
So if you actually take the flight path, you gain rested XP as if you were inside of your little sleeping bag. But if you choose to pay extra and teleport, you don't get that XP boost. But then I guess at max level, you would just want to teleport anyways. But still, yeah, you should be forced to travel while you're leveling. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me. I think either or is okay. I like the fly pass. I think it adds to the world building. You know, when you see a bunch of people flying around near you, like the game feels more alive. You see a guy fly past on a griffin or fly past on a wyvern, you know. I didn't like the teleport they added to Wrath of the Lich King, actually. You know, there's so much of that in Wrath. The world feels empty. I kind of like playing Classic for just how full it feels, right? So I think the teleporting would take that away from me. At the end of the day, it is an RPG for me, even though it's an MMO RPG, and I do like just, you know, traversing around. So I'd probably agree with Scotty. Yeah, I like the flight pass. Maybe they can add some more though. They can add some more flight paths to make it like, so you're saying they can't change it to make it so it's more direct, but if there's more connecting ones, maybe it won't take you 10 minutes to fly from bloody Ratchet to Desolus or whatever. Maybe it could take you, you know, 5 minutes or something, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all the extra flight paths in Kata. Like, sorry to keep talking about Kata, but you know, it like being able to fly to Senjin Village and be it like, yeah, you know, why not? Once you've been to these places, like, if they done that, I'd be all for it. Like, if they just added flight paths to some of these places where normally, you know, you have to like land at, I don't know, like in Desolus for Horde, you know, like there could be a bit of a central flight path as well at that little camp outside like the Kodo graveyard, you know, like just, yeah, where it makes it a bit more convenient, but no to teleporting. Like, I just, no, you know, I get it. And, you know, on White Main, you can, if you're like premium, you can just instantly teleport from place to place. And it felt weird to me. Like,
what main was it?
White Main. Kata, like the Kata server. White Main.
Oh, okay.
And that's just a bit. I don't know. Move on to the next one.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So this one, make dungeons relevant. Let bosses drop reputation tokens that can be used for PvP rep or a new rep for PvE items, so dungeons aren't irrelevant. I think a lot of people have been coming up with ideas for ways to make doing dungeons relevant. So I'm all for anything that would get me to go to a dungeon. So this one, yeah, sure. If it's a reputation, I'm cool with it. If it's an upgraded piece of gear, hell yeah, let's get it.
Denzo, yeah, like, I'll let you do your thoughts first, because yeah, mine are going to be pretty much echoing go.
Yeah, I think the tricky part is not making them better than the previous phase's BIS, but not BIS for that current phase. You want it to be like pre-BIS farm, basically. I think that's a really good idea. If it's the power levels in between the two phases, right? I think we were talking about this before, and I said I think emblems like they do in Wrath of the Lich King, that you get off those bosses, which you can then go to a vendor and purchase gear. I think it's great. Just don't make them too overpowered. Like, I don't want my BIS gear from just farming emblems. I would rather just, you know, have it be a step up from, let's say, BFD to Noma, where I don't just go straight in Noma in BFD gear and just face roll it, right?
What about the reputation aspect of that? Should you be able to get rep from dungeons from killing the bosses, or kind of like what Scotty was suggesting maybe earlier, you get a tabard after you've hit Exalted on your main tune that you could do a dungeon and then get rep that way? Or
wouldn't be a bad idea. I think if it makes people's lives easier, especially casual players, I think it's always a good thing. Yeah, you should always balance the game around them and not, you know, the people that can play 12 hours a day like myself. Yeah.
So what I you know, perfect world scenario for me would be add heroic dungeons. So each phase, you know, the relevant level dungeons, there's a heroic version. I would have it so while only heroic dungeons, not normal, before anyone says anything. During the Blood Moon event in STV, if you're in a heroic dungeon, you get like 50 coins off each boss, or 30 coins off each boss, something like that. And maybe because the Blood Moon event is on the bosses while you're in those heroics during that time, maybe do 30% more damage or something as well. So they get like blood lower buffed, you know what I mean? But then I wouldn't want to see gear equal to Gnomragon. I wouldn't want to see pre-BIS gear in it. I would want it to be really hard, and you can only do them once a day. And possibly some of the items are just like itemized in ways that they could potentially even be BIS. Yeah, like you know, I wouldn't want to see it overshadow the raids. But I would like to see it as content to do whilst you're locked out of the raid. So it still needs to be relevant. You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be a reason to go there. So, you know, maybe it's of a similar item level to Gnomragon, but just a little bit weaker. So, you know, if you think about the trinket that drops from the last boss, say for a caster, there's one very similar to that. It might just have like two less spell damage and a couple less intellect or something. You know, so ultimately you still want to go in Gnomragon every 3 days to get the best trinket, but these heroic dungeons really bridge that gap between pre-raid bis and absolute bis from the whatever the current raid is. I know that's a lot of work, but well, it is and it isn't, because all they really need to do is add the existing items that are already in there. Maybe they might need to add a couple of items where there's big gaps, and then scale them up. Add a heroic version of the items.
Expanding on that idea that you have, could they do something with that similar to what they did in Wrath with Vault of Archivon, where you can go do it and potentially maybe some teardrops, or it's like a lower chance that something like that drops, but there's a chance that it can. So it's like almost like you're like a lottery kind of thing. What could drop? Could be something really good. It could be something biz. It could be something not so good, just depending on the RNG. I mean, that could be, or even some PvP gear or whatever it could be. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be something to do out of raid. I think that's something that Wrath does well, is that you do want to go do this extra, I guess you can call it a chore, but it's still something to do outside of raiding.
Yeah, and it's extra PvE content. I mean, I kind of like that idea, actually. If it was, so you could only do each heroic once a day, and, let's say it was like the first few bosses drop just regular sort of pre-bis type gear, but the last boss of each heroic dungeon drops 2 random Gnomragon items, but no epics. So you can only get like 2 random blue Gnomragon items, but so the epics you still would have to go to Gnomragon. Something like that, and you're limited to the amount you can get anyway, because you're only going to be able to do them once a day. And so I kind of like that. I think that actually something like that could work.
That might just kill the first half of the dungeon. Like for me, for BFD, the first 3 bosses, I didn't want to kill those bosses after week 1. I was like, I killed them. They drop shit loot. So it's like, if I was able to get loot from the first half of the raid from a dungeon, then it's just going to further make me not want to do the first half of the raid. But they did itemize it a little bit better in Gnomer, I think. Like, the first bosses dropped some cool stuff, but I just don't know. I think
that's why I suggested maybe that last boss not guaranteed dropping like those Gnomragon items.
Yeah, just a chance.
Whatever the current rate is. Like a chance. Like, let's say, you don't know what the RNG is, maybe 20%, 25%, but then it can drop other stuff. Like it can drop pre-biz as well. Like it can drop maybe, some PvP item or something like that. That isn't like insanely overpowered, but like you do it for the chance that it's going to drop. It's RNG, could be fun.
It's kind of there that I would have where I would expect quality of life books. Instead of the quality of life books coming from these like easy dungeons, like you could have quality of life books from the heroic versions of the dungeons, which then actually you've got something to chase when you're at max level. So it's not simply get to max level, grab your runes, and start raid logging. It's like, shit, I need to do a couple of heroics every day to try and get my books.
I think I would prefer if the boss in this supposed dungeon would drop like an item, and you could turn that item in for certain consumables. So then it's like, oh, okay, I can get some caster consumables, or I could get some melee consumables from the same item, instead of having it be a piece of loot from the raid.
Yeah, I'd only need a minor incentive to go and do dungeons.
Yeah,
I don't need a lot, but just something where, even if it was just quite an efficient way to get a few gold, it was literally just a daily dungeon quest, and it gave 20 gold. So I'll go and do one a day. Yeah, cool. All right, should we move on to the next point? I'm going to get some ice.
Yeah, the next one I think is probably a quick one. Give homunculi a pet bar so you can control them with /pet attack macros, etc. So they don't AFK unless you melee. You've played a priest, so what do you think about this?
I have not only in phase 1. I haven't. My priest I think is now 27. I've been boosting like 3 tunes at a time in stockades, and I think I got up to my priest and I was like, can't be bothered anymore. But I do remember how infuriating it was not being able to pet command attack with them. And I've had a priest talk to me about it in especially Menagerie. So they're a min-max player, and they're wanting to apply the homunculi debuff to a certain mob. and it just goes off and goes, it just goes and does its own thing. It attacks whatever it wants willy-nilly, right? But he wants to be able to control it more specifically to be like, okay, I want it to apply it to, the squirrel, the chicken, and then the dragon, and like apply the debuff to all of them. But he can't. He literally can just press the button on whichever one and then just hope it does its thing. So I do think being able to control it would be great. Also, I've been in the open world, and some random priests homunculi have just started attacking me as I ran past from the other faction. And I can see the guy. He's like saying sorry.
I'm sorry.
Like,
yeah, no, don't kill me.
Sorry. And then, and I'm running past, and I'm just like, fair enough. But you know, I can imagine. You don't want that. The homunculi have a mind of their own. I don't think that's kind of good. Yeah, pretty easy.
I think that's how treants worked in TBC for Balanced Druid. It's been like 2 years since I did that, but it was pretty frustrating. You would drop your treants and then they would just go off and fuck off and do their own thing. And then we had that control in Wrath, and it felt better. But how strong the debuffs are from the homunculi, I don't think you should be able to apply it to like more than one target if you could control it. So it's like if you have it on one mob and it has the debuffs from the homunculi on that mob, and then you decide to change it to a different mob, then those first debuffs remove once they're reapplied to a different mob. If that worked that way, I think I'd be okay with it.
Oh, you just have it attack your most recently applied Shadow Word Pain target. So like if you want it to move from one to another, you put Shadow Word Pain and it follows the most recent Shadow Word Pain.
There you go.
All right. I don't care, honestly. Like whatever. I don't play priest. I'm sure it's annoying, but yeah. Reroll, play a proper class.
All right, I'm gonna read the next two like back to back because I think they kind of contradicted each other. So give rogues tricks of the trade so they bring some form of utility to the group. I know a lot of rogues are saying like, yo, we're not doing enough damage and we're not getting into raid groups, so we need some sort of utility. So that could be a way to give them that. But then the next one says make PI a personal CD only applicable to the priest itself, so everybody's raids is at an even playing field. So it's like you can't give PI to other people. So like reducing a priest's like need to be brought to a group.
I like things like that personally.
It seemed weird.
Yeah.
Go on, Denzo.
But right now, any decent priest isn't playing disc anyway. And if you're caring about, let's just say it's because of passing, because they're the only people that are going to care about this, right?
Yeah.
You're not even going to get 99s or 100s with PI, because to get that, you need to run a one healer comp where you can't afford to run PI anyway. So even if you get PI, it doesn't mean anything right now. Like I was saying, like right now you're running a Shadow Priest, and the Shadow Priest plays for Shadow for those 4 bosses, and that's your healer. And then for the other 2 bosses, he plays Holy, and they go and respec and do that. Like, so it doesn't really do anything having PI. So maybe later on it will. But yeah, the only people that really care about this are the super sweaty people, right? Or the people that are trying to pass really high. Doesn't matter. Like, those things are good to have in the game, but you ask any priest that, like, if you're in a pug, can you PI me? And they'll go, I'm holy. So it doesn't even matter.
For PI, I think a lot of people have been calling for PI to be normalized damage-wise on Warcraft logs. So it's like if rogues all of a sudden got tricks of the trade, and then tricks of the trade was also normalized, then it's like, where would the utility from that come from? So it's like I agree that rogues should get some sort of raid buff to make them worth to come to the group. And I was watching Warcraft Reloaded over the weekend on my drive home from my trip, and they had Kipso, I think, was the guest, and he played a rogue, and he found like a trash skip to get to the teleporters in Nomer. And you can, I guess, only do that as a rogue. So it's like, if you want to speed clear, then hey, you need a rogue, and that's their utility. But it kind of sucks that like maybe Vanish is a rogue's utility just to get some teleports early. So yeah, like rogues need some help, I guess.
When did we live in a world where everybody needs something, though? As in, it's fine for one class to bring something and another one doesn't. A rogue's there to do damage. Like a rogue, if you was to ask a rogue, oh, do you want some utility? Something that you can, something extra to do. Like, unless it's going to give them damage, the majority of the rogues that I know would be like, no, I'm all right, thanks. Let someone else pop that shit. Like, do you want Bloodlust on rogues? No, that's a GCD. I don't want to press that. Someone else press it.
So give them Master Poisoner from Wrath of the Lich King, though 3% crit, or give them Savage Combat, 4% physical
Phys damage
increase.
Yeah, something like that. That's the sort of thing a rogue should bring, like, in my opinion. Like, tricks, is it needed? I don't know. Like, maybe, but I would probably say not so much at the moment. Maybe at 60, it might be really nice. But yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, as in, Savage Combat, Master Poisoner. Yeah, so they bring a debuff rather than a buff, or rather than an external. But in terms of the actual the PI stuff, I love things like that. PI, Focus Magic, Dark Intent. I loved I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Someone in chat will tell me. The Druid ones, Symbiosis. It didn't last long, but Symbiosis was absolutely amazing. Which, if anyone don't know what it is, you would cast Symbiosis on someone in your raid. They would get a Druid ability from you, and you would get an ability from them, depending on what class you put it on. And there was multiple classes that would get a good benefit from being the target of Symbiosis. So you had to pick and choose who you'd put it on, who's it going to be the biggest benefit for, but also give you a big benefit as well. So like getting Soul Swap from a Warlock to be able to swap your bleeds from one target to another. I just love those sort of where there's some decisions to make in raid and who are you going to put it on. I'd hate to see PI go away or be personal or anything like that, because I think it's like a big staple, as being a priest, is being able to power infuse someone if you disc. But then again, how many of them are you actually seeing at the moment?
Well, Stephen Crow had a great shout in the comments. If there was a book that made rogues slice and dice give the party 5% attack speed, would that be too much of a change? So I kind of like where that idea's like foundation is coming from. Like a rogue has to apply slice and dice, and then only their party, not the whole raid, gets a little bit of a little buff from that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, again, if it's needed, if they're gonna start adding more raid buffs, party buffs, then obviously things become easier. So then obviously the content needs to reflect that. But I don't know. But to me, I think rogues are fine on the most part. They're there to do damage. Tricks, like, I don't see any really big threat issues going on. You'd be able to pull bigger, I suppose. As in pull more trash and rogues tricks in the tank, and then but eventually tricks don't even become that, does it? If it ends up being the same sort of tricks as Wrath, tricks is used as a DPS cooldown. It's not really used for what it's intended. I mean, when do you ever tricks a tank? You're tricks in a Warlock to get a snapshot. You're tricks in a Shadow Priest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not really used for its intended purpose anyway. So I don't care. Like, honestly, put it in the game if you want. It wouldn't really bother me. But if it's needed or not, that's the thing I would debate.
When do hunters get misdirect? It's 42, right?
70.
Misdirection? That's 70? It's not even in vanilla?
No, it's not TBC.
No, it's not in vanilla. No.
Oh, it's TBC. Okay, well then no tricks.
Yeah, not unless hunters get MD.
Give them. Yeah, they need to get MD. I don't really play too much hunter, honestly. But I mean, I think the main thing right now is rogues damage is kind of middle of the pack. And when I build a comp, I don't care about rogues because they don't bring anything. I could just bring another boomy. I could bring a rep paladin. I could bring a warrior. Like they all bring something at least. Unless that rogue can tank, maybe. Menagerie or something. And even then, we're one tanking with our prop paladin a lot of the time on that boss anyway. So we're one tanking the whole thing. So really, what do they bring? Nothing. Besides a bit of damage, which you can get from someone else. So yeah, giving them a buff would be pretty nice, or a debuff, or like the Wrath of the Lich King ones, I think would be pretty good. I would then want to bring a rogue.
I think I really like the idea of savage combat, especially like to help, but not necessarily balance it now, but more in the future, being able to balance the physical damage dealers around them doing an extra 4% damage if we've got a rogue in the party. Like, yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, especially with 20-man raids. Yeah. It's going to be really nice to have like build comps around. Like right now, you can't really build comps in 10-man. It feels kind of weird and suffocating. The 20-man raids are going to be a lot more fun. Yeah,
definitely. Thanks for the super chat.
We'll get to the super chat, but something way more important first. I got into the Cata beta. I refreshed my launcher. Table shot me a DM and he was like, "Yo, I just got in the beta. Refresh your launcher." I refreshed. We're in there, baby.
Big wave, and let's go. Right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Are we not off?
the super chat. I didn't read it before. I'm reading it out loud here. We got rogues do worse damage than S priest, feral, ret pala, etc., but bring nothing compared to those. If given one debuff, then they'll get 1 out of 40 raid spots. They get 1 per group, I get, like 1 per melee group, so maybe they get 3. Scotty?
I was waiting for Denzo to say something. I try and let the guest go first.
You never
Gentleman
do.
You are.
No.
Or maybe
don't let him fool you.
Or maybe I was reading kick chat at all the boys losing their shit because they've all got in on the beta. And I was going to go to bed after this, but I think I'm probably going to stay up all night and play Cata now because they're all in.
Beta hype.
And let's go. Yeah, so what was you saying? Rogues do worse damage than priests, feral, pala, etc., but bring nothing compared to those. If given 1 debuff, then they'll get 1 of 40 raid spots. Yeah, unless obviously we can't really base that, or I wouldn't base that on now. At level 40, I wouldn't base that at level 50. What's going to matter is level 60 when we're actually doing 40-man content. And if rogues are pumping, and they bring 1 debuff as well, you're still going to take more than 1 rogue. Simple as that. So it's same as, if mages are not pumping, you're going to see less mages. If warriors are pumping, you're going to see more warriors. It's really it's going to depend on what damage everyone's doing, because most people will bring, like, if you're making a 40-man roster, you'll make sure you've covered all buffs and debuffs that you need, and then from there, all you're doing is looking for bringing as much damage as possible. If rogues were doing massive damage, you're going to have 1 rogue in the group for savage combat, and then you might take another 6. If they're doing damage. If they're not, you might only take 1 extra in case that rogue dies and you still want to keep the debuff up. I don't know. I wouldn't worry about any of that too much at the moment until we see what it's looking like. Right, okay, so thanks for watching. Oh, are we still staying?
No.
Oh.
The next 2 are perfect for Denzo because he's playing both of these classes right now, and it's give warlocks the Hellstone well, so you can give that to your party and raid members more easily, and then also give mages the food/drink table.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I agree. Just put it in.
Well, just to expand on the food/drink table thing, they talked about this also on Warcraft Reloaded, like making it % mana and % health instead of it being a certain amount of, like a maximum amount of mana and health that you can get per level bracket. I'm having to drink multiple drinks just to get full mana. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. It's a bit silly to me. And then I think it's just going to get worse. Yeah. So it's a gold sink. Yay. I have to spend 10 silver to get full mana over a minute and a half. This is so much fun. Same thing with the flight pass.
It's always been a thing about playing mage, though, is that you have a ginormous mana pool and you have to drink multiple times. It's just, no matter what expansion you play, that's what happens. And if you're really upset about it, go do the festival events where you get percentage-based food and water. Just stock up then. And then when it doesn't really matter unless you're speed running. If you're just normal raiding, people wait for you. No one cares. You know, you'll go, hey, sorry, I need a sec to drink to full. They're gonna go, okay. You know.
As someone who's played a Holy
So,
Paladin through all of Wrath, you know, and I have to drink 2 full lots, and even then, sometimes I'm not full mana. It's yeah, I don't care though. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, health and mana percentage based food. I don't care. Like, what? It's not something. If they added it, all right, cool. If they didn't, it's not something I would ask for. You know, drinking and eating it's just part of the game, isn't it?
It sucks the most, I guess, for me in Battlegrounds. You know, I'll go into like Blacksmith in Arathi Basin, and we'll have that first clash, like right when the battle starts, and then I'm sat there trying to regen my mana while somebody that I just killed in the Alliance has rezzed with a full mana bar, got on their mount, ran back to Blacksmith, and they're full health, full mana, and I haven't gotten full health, full mana yet from that same fight. And it's like, oh, they have the advantage now because they died, and now they have more mana than me.
Well, then the rations, that you buy from the
but
vendors.
Then I don't have innervate for the combat. No.
The rations that you buy from the vendors for PvP could be percentage based, but they only work in the battlegrounds.
Yeah. There we go. I'm all for any better way to get mana regen as a boomy. I've got mana issues. I'm sorry, it's just ingrained in me to want to get my mana back.
And as for Warlock Healthstone, as in Soul Well, I can see that coming in next phase anyway. Quite honestly, maybe not the Mage table, but I see Soul Well coming in next phase.
You know, Soul Well will actually make me give my my raid Healthstones because I don't do it now.
I don't even want to accept a rock from a lock right now. Like, I'm just like, nah, dude, keep it. You worked hard for that. Like,
yeah. Like, if my main tank doesn't want one, no one else gets one. So
yeah,
like, and he doesn't care at this point. Yeah.
All right, this one I'm gonna expand. It's give warriors extended shouts 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes. There were some changes to some buffs for druids, and like was it Omen of Clarity, I think, got switched from 10 to 30 minutes, but Thorns is still a 10-minute like duration. I just hate having like a 45-minute Mark of the Wild and a 10-minute Thorns. So it's like I'd like to have a Thorns duration extended too, but I don't know if anybody, maybe Denzo, you played Warrior in phase 1 at least. How did the shouts feel? Should a 5-minute duration over 2, would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think for people that are, if you don't have weak auras and stuff to help track all these things, it can be a little annoying to sort of keep putting it back up, especially if a fight goes longer than 2 minutes. We've got really long fights now, especially if you're in a pug group. You're probably killing mech in how long? Like 7 minutes?
Yeah,
you know
around
what I mean? Like, yeah. So you're having to put up the shout 3-4 times. It's kind of miserable.
They have to be in range. That's in the party too. Like,
yeah, BFD wasn't as bad. The boss fights didn't go as long. Yeah, I think even Akumai, you would kill it pretty much. You'd only have to refresh your shouts once, I believe. Yeah, so I can see like why it was
too. Yeah.
I'd up it. I'd up it personally. 2 minutes is annoyingly short. Just a nice in phase 3, a nice quality of life book that extends the duration to 5 minutes, 10. I don't really care. Like, you only want to buff once, don't you? 10 minutes. Yeah, make it even better.
Are there any other short buff durations? I can't think of any. It's like there's a couple 10. Oh, I guess the paladin buffs. Did they get? They got
extended. Yeah, from quality
what,
of life
5
books.
to 10, or
it's 15, isn't it? Is it not 15 minutes now? I haven't played my paladin in phase 2 at all. What's the blessings, Denzo? You've got a paladin, haven't you?
I haven't played at this phase.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't think I am. I'm gonna level to the 40 and not do anything, I think, on it. Make it. I can't think of anything. I think you're right. I think it was 15. I do recall something like that. Make it 30. Give him greater blessings.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. But that is the funny thing. Oh, yeah. It's like, we've gone from talking about like wanting vanilla to be vanilla and it being classic plus and all of that, and that's really don't seem to be what people want. As in, like,
yeah.
there's a loud minority that are like, this ain't Classic Plus. Like, obviously Classic Plus would be, but yeah, vanilla, but with just extra content, but all the classes are the same, blah, blah, blah. But the player base that are playing Season of Discovery seem extremely open to lots of quality of life stuff, lots of future retail mechanics and systems. Which, yeah, I mean, I am as well. Obviously, I include myself in that group. Not going too far with it, things that just make sense in the setting that it's in. Not like teleporting from flight path to flight path. I'm not a weirdo. But yeah,
I guess I should have just not put that idea out there. I'm sorry.
No, you shouldn't have.
I had to like counteract the one good idea I had earlier with that one, so now I'm balanced out. You see what I did there? Balance. All right. The next bullet point is nerf shamans. I think we all agree with that one. So the next bullet point is put a no, not shamans. I've heard shaman tanking is just like a one button rotation. Ellie, is it Ellie or is it Enhance is pumping right now, right? But Ellie
Enhance is pumping, yeah.
Yeah, so
top of the meters right now. I think on boss damage it's above mage right now.
Do shamans have to equal to paladins because of the faction difference? So maybe that's what the call for nerfing shamans is for, because paladins aren't equal to shaman.
I think let them have their time.
Yeah, exactly. They've been historically bad in Classic.
Oh yeah.
When have shamans ever been good in vanilla TBC? I think Wrath they start to get like okay, but enhancement shaman still sucks. Like Ellie, it's like you don't scale. Like let them have their time to shine. Like they've been miserable for so long. At least it's not a warrior, right?
Exactly. And next phase they could be bottom of the pack again.
Yeah.
Like depending on what runes everyone gets and the access to extra talents and whatnot. Like who cares? Like, let them pump. I mean,
what Fry kind of said though is what I was thinking. Like shamans fuck me up in PvP. I'm glad that I'm Horde because I don't have to face shaman unless I go to the Blood Moon event. But shamans always just wreck me. Like no matter what. I played mage, shaman just wrecked me as a mage. I play balanced druid, shamans wrecked me as a balanced druid. Maybe I just need to play a melee. I just need to play rogue or something to counter them. But
just reroll shaman.
It's weird that shaman can just kind of like slap in PvE and PvP right now.
Yeah, I mean,
good on him.
Yeah, so I feel it's like, as long as everything's balanced at 60, I think phase by phase, having enhancement shaman like absolutely dominating at the moment. It's only for a short period of time. It's like 8 to 10 weeks. And then next phase, we'll be calling to nerf balance druids. I'm joking. That's just never going to happen. They're never going to be top. But you know what I mean?
The first day of phase 2, let me remind you how we got the nerf hammer slapped across every part of our body.
Yeah, but no, I'm sure it won't last.
Do you remember how mad people were at hunters in phase 1? Like, there's always some class that people are like, nerf it, it's too strong. Like, and they got nerfed. They did.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
still super strong all throughout phase 1, PvP and PvE. So who cares? Like
Yeah.
Scotty says, if they balance it at 60, it's whatever. And like, even if they don't, I mean, it's classic WoW. I mean, if you go back to vanilla, it's warriors and rogues always, right? That are the strongest. So there's always some kind of imbalance. It's fine. Like just re-roll the class if you're going to complain.
Like Cody said, give them their time to shine and then nerf the shit out of them in the summer.
Perfect.
Yeah. So everyone wastes their time re-rolling shaman now, and next phase it's like no one wants to take one to a raid. But cool.
This next the next one I kind of have some more input into it, I think, as well. But put a 15 or 20 minute timer in Battlegrounds. Whoever is in the lead wins, like after the timer expires, so people can avoid games being stalled forever. I know there's been some like Warsong Gulches that have gone on for a while. Alterac Valley is going to be coming in a phase or 2, and I don't think there was a time limit on that in vanilla. Maybe they added one in classic, but Alterac Valley games could go on for a long time. But I kind of like the idea of adding other battleground mechanics from future expansions. Like you get more honor if you're in combat near a flag in Arathi Basin was the big one that I was thinking of. So people aren't not encouraged. They're encouraged to not fight on the roads. You go into an Arathi Basin right now and people are fighting between blacksmith and stables, blacksmith and farm, blacksmith and the other two nodes. You know what I mean? Like if you get more honor because you're stood next to the flag or near the flag so you can spin it, I like those kind of changes for battlegrounds. It's anti-vanilla, I know, but screw that.
I'd have the timer personally. Yeah. The other stuff. Yeah, with the fighting near the flag and that. Again, I don't PvP that much unless there's something that I need. You know, I need to farm PvP to get something. And I say the same thing. You know, I'll be doing a lot of PvP in Kata. Once the beta starts to fizzle out a little bit, and it's more prep in like Wrath, you know, switching over to more Wrath than the Kata beta, I'll be doing loads of PvP on there, but it will be for achievements. You know, so I'm not normally PvPing actually for the fun of PvPing. I'm PvPing for the reward at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, they can more or less do what they want with Battlegrounds, and I'll be all right with it, whatever.
I've done 0 AB. I'm not gonna lie. I've done none. There's no reason for me to do it. So I've done a lot of Lost on Gulch to get my braces, but yep, no AB. Honestly, didn't they add the timer eventually to the game?
Yeah.
For Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
And they did it because
TBC, I think.
Yeah. TBC, right? They did it because famously, I think there was like some crazy 12-hour games that would happen where people would just like turtle and things got out of hand, right? And they ended up just like, again, I'm not a big PvP. I just remember reading somewhere in the grapevine, down the grapevine, you know, that there was just like these ridiculous games that like pre-mades against pre-mades and they just wouldn't give up. And then, yeah, they ended up adding timers or something. So yeah, just let them do it.
I mean, I remember the old school AV, and you know, I could like be in AV for 3 or 4 hours, go to bed, you know, get a good 8 hours sleep in, wake up, join, and I'm back in the same game. You know, like seriously, it was mental. The old style AV. But all right, cool. What else we got?
This next one is the most important one.
I thought it might be.
He looks. For the love of God, don't make Balanced Druids future head rune Gale Winds. Hurricane is really bad as it is. Give us something useful, please. We've got an hour to spend on this one because we have so much time. So let's dive into this.
What, is your internet that bad? That's how long it's going to take to download Cataclysm.
No, I'm already logged in. I've made my tune. I'm leveling right now. I mean, I think that's just a meme. We can pass over that one. That's fine if you guys don't want to talk about it.
Give me Starfall.
Well, tell me what it is first. You know, like rather than just saying Gale Wins, no one knows what it is. Go.
All right, so Gale Winds is a rune that was data mined before Phase 1 even launched, and it's a buff to Hurricane that removes the 1 minute cooldown, and it reduces the mana cost, and it doubles the damage for Hurricane, and it still isn't useful with all of those buffs. Like I've done theory crafting on it. There's other balancers that have done theory crafting on it. It's still shit. It scales so bad with spell power that you can have 200 spell power and it's going to add like 3 damage on top of the 70 damage right now. So it's like, oh yeah, your full Nomerbis, instead of doing 70 damage per mob, it's going to hit for like 78 damage per mob. Cool. And that's with like full world buffs. It's like, dude. And then if you got Gale Winds at level 50, then you get a new rank of Hurricane. Cool. But still, it's not going to compare to the AoE from any other class at all. And it's still going to be pretty high mana. Like,
yeah, get rid of it. Yeah. Give him Starfall. Give him Starfall from Wrath of the Lich King. Replace that shit. No, that's decent AoE.
Yeah, the only way that I could see this like having some use to it is if Hurricane could crit. and then Hurricane crits would apply the Dream State debuff to increase the damage from nature spells by an additional 20%. So it's like, okay, that's a lot of damage at that point. It's 100% and it can crit, and then that crit is 200%, and then it's also then boosted by another 20%. Like that would feel kind of cool at that point. But the current like data mined Gale Winds is just, it's not good enough, and it'd be a waste of a rune slot, because it would only be for AoE, and that's only for like 5+ mobs. And even right now, the top balance druid is not using Hurricane in raid at all. So it's like, dude, I get it. Like, Hurricane sucks.
Thank you for the super chats. We've got a couple to go through. Do you want to read the first one? I'll read the second.
My mouth is dry. You let me rant for one time, so I'm happy to do it. No, Pocket Healer, thanks. Sorry if I've missed this topic. I've been saving blood coins in hopes of turning them in for honor in future phases. Thoughts? I think I don't think we've discussed it, but I've heard thoughts about this, like pre-stacking the coins to turn in for honor. I don't think it's going to work. So like you can turn in 50 copper, I think, for 250, or maybe it's 25 copper for, I don't know what the conversion is, but I think Blizzard has said, like, don't expect to be able to stack stuff for future phases and allow that to work. Like they nerfed the Warsong Gulch marks turn in phase 1. I think this kind of like applies to that same type of thing.
I would expect, like, I would expect when phase 3 launches that honor token is taken off the vendor, and that's all that is. You could still spend them on reputation, but I would be surprised if you could stack them and use them for honor, especially if other people are already talking about it and it's on Blizzard's radar. Like, I mean, by all means, if you've got nothing to spend them on now anyway, you might as well keep them just in case we're wrong. But I have a sneaky suspicion. Firstly, that Go's currently leveling in Durotar because his face has gone redder than it was before. I'm trying
to disable my add-ons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd keep hold of them, because why not? If you've got nothing to spend them on anyway, there's no reason not to, is there? What do you reckon, Denzo?
Yeah, just don't get mad if they, like, if you stockpile them and then they get removed or they don't count to anything. Just don't get mad. Then it's fine. Go ahead, do it. Like, I did phase 2 pre-prep, and I had my bank full of those waylaid supplies ready to hand in, and then old Mr. Agrin said, no, they're not going to amount to anything. And I didn't get mad. I said I was expecting possibly this was going to happen. And then actually they did count for something. So you were able to end up handing them for XP. So I think, like, I did also get the Warsong Gulch marks, which didn't amount to anything. And at the end of the day, if you're okay with losing that time that you've invested in doing it, in the chance that it might amount to something, go for it. But yeah, don't get on the forums and complain if, they decide not to.
Yep, totally agree. The next one is they should not bring 40 people. They also need to make WoW 2 in Azeroth, new expansion, Scarlet Crusade, add Barbershop, Mythic Plus. I get bored, need customs. There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot with a little bit of said, yeah. Fuck 40 people. I think Scotty and I agree with that. Denzo, what do you think about the 40 man raid size?
I think 20 man. I think 40. It sounds good, but in actual practice, it's very, very annoying. Especially if you're pugging. I don't want to find 39 other people. Oh my god, I'm gonna spend all night doing that, right? And then in a guild, like, imagine getting that many people together. Like, I did it in Classic, and I was an officer, and I hated my life. Like, putting together rosters was so annoying. 20 people is I think 25, honestly, is that sweet spot. Like in Wrath of the Lich King and TBC, I like 25. But yeah, 20 is fine. Yeah.
Like, imagine pugging a 40-man raid, and you sat there, you formed the raid, you got everything, you got all your debuffs sorted out, you go in there, you clear Molten Core, and you got no loot as the raid leader. because there's no GDKPs, you got no gold reward, and you sat there and you wasted 3 hours forming the group, 3 hours to clear the raid, and you left with nothing.
Even
That does
worse
not
than
sound
that.
like a good experience.
Even worse than that, let's say you spend all that time forming the group and everything, and then you go in and you wipe on like the second boss and the raid falls apart. And, you know, I'm not a fan of 40 man. As for the other stuff, I mean, WoW 2, yeah, an actual World of Warcraft 2. I've said recently that with the new trilogy, yeah, the War Within and all that for retail, I would have almost branded that as World of Warcraft 2. And actually just Dragonflight was the end. That was where it ended, and then you went on to like completely fresh. That's the only way I would go back and play retail now, is if it was like a complete restart almost. Yeah, so everyone's on a level playing field. But WoW 2, you would expect to always, if it eventually ever happens, which I don't really see, it would be retail-esque. Like WoW 2 I wouldn't imagine to be vanilla classic-esque. The other stuff, barbershop, don't really care about the barbershop, whatever. Mythic Plus.
I want different Moonkin forms, man. We've had the same shit in Classic and TBC and Wrath. I guess now I can re-roll Troll and Kata and have a new Moonkin form. But dude, let me get some extra feather colors, man.
Yeah.
Mythic Plus stuff, I've never done Mythic Plus. I don't know what I don't know what that even means. If it's like the dungeon stuff, the Titan Rune dungeon system in Wrath,
no,
something like that,
it's completely different.
then cool. But yeah, Mythic Plus stuff,
I just got the sunnies, like the sunglasses from Nomragon on my druid. I really, really want them to be able to show on my boomkin. That would be
yes.
You know, like I'm just chilling there with my fucking sunnies on in Ironforge, just hanging out.
And you can get on a mount in Ironforge too. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I just got the fluorescent green Mechanostrider yesterday, so won that in a MSOS. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Give me sunnies on my boomkin.
Hell yeah.
Your turn on the second super chat. Thanks for both super chats, by the way, mate.
The second super chat.
The third. Well, yeah, second from Baromir.
Oh, second. Oh, I was looking at the thing. Where are we at? There's Mythic Plus in both of them. What I'm trying to say is that they should continue from SOD, divert WoW to this direction, make Mythic Plus for like dead mines, etc. Retail is so dead for me. I'm still not sure about the whole Mythic Plus stuff. Oh, like what do you get from? Is that like the key system? So it's like
you push keys, like and then you'll get like you might get like a key for 4, and then you'll use that and form a group, and you can key share kind of thing, you know.
That sounds too crazy for.
I would just have mythic,
just put heroic
and casuals, like just
heroic and mythic.
A simple system. Yep, heroics, cool.
Or even just heroic, honestly. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we've got one more. You want to have a raid of the last one, and I'll be back in a sec. I am listening.
Yeah. Let me make sure I've scrolled down all the way. So make epic crest. God damn it. Make epic quest recipes account wide so you can purchase it from mains and send it to alts. So you don't have to repeat the quest on all characters. I did the leatherworking helm quest. It took me 2 to 3 hours, I think. And that was like with help from chat, and that was like, yo, go buy this from the auction house and do all this stuff. So it's like, it gave me something to do. And I don't want to redo it on an alt, but should my alt be able to get the same benefit because I've done it on my main? I don't know. This applies to so many other things we've talked about. So it's like, like reputation, like getting exalted and then having that on an alt. I don't know. My
stance is the same with everything else we've talked about. It's if you're going to remove having to do this on other characters, you got to add stuff for me for like more content into the game to make up for it is the biggest thing for me. I think it's good. Like, honestly, I only did that epic helm quest on my mage, and that's it. Because I can't be bothered doing the rest of them. But yeah, I don't know. It is something to do though, right? And the game's just so empty as it is. Like with things I need to do, I'm still not going to do them on my alts. I don't think I will.
I think it's fine now, maybe, but once Blizzard has hinted that we're gonna get like specializations for like leatherworking in next phases. So it's like if I have to do a leatherworking specialization on a main and then I level up an alt druid and then I have to do the same thing for that, maybe then it would be too much. But right now, I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, those long quest chains, I just won't do them on a second character. It's as simple as that. Like, once you've experienced it once, it was like, yeah, that was kind of cool. You know, bit of a slog, but kind of cool. But it's more like on the alts, I wouldn't want to sink that amount of gold into buying the recipes again. You know, like, so if you could just even if they were account wide. And I could just go to the vendor on my alt and buy them, I probably still wouldn't buy them because it was just my alt. I mean, I'm not spending, like 75 gold in total or whatever it was for, the actual head and then for the things you need for the head. Like, I just probably wouldn't bother either way. But that's just me. I don't care about my alts. I've said that before. I only really care about my main.
That was my single highest like one piece upgrade DPS wise. Was going from like the cloth helm, I think. Maybe I went from pre-raid. Maybe I didn't do that right. So maybe there was like an in-between item. But it was the highest pre-raid Nomer head slot to leatherworking head slot, like DPS upgrade. It was like 20 DPS or something. Everything else was like 3 to 7 DPS. So it was a big upgrade. So it'd be worth the gold, I think, even for an alt for me.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well that's
it's worth, yeah.
That's all of those. Unless any of you have got anything to add, Denzo, did you have any quality of life changes you'd like to see?
Bring about
the biggest one is dual spec.
Yeah,
it needs to be in the game. I play mage mainly, and I AoE farm. And I go do, I'll boost my tunes. I'll go do AoE farming in dungeons, open world, and I have to respec to Deep Frost every 3 days and go back to fire and then go back to, and I know it's only a gold, but I'm using, you've used that on my slot before. So set up all my like hotkeys. I have to like import all my hotkeys again, like redo my talent tree with talented, like pay a gold, just give me dual spec. Like, I don't care what it is. Make it a long ass quest chain. I don't care. Like, make it 50 gold. I don't care. 100 gold, whatever. Just let me do that. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. I'm just back and forth every 3 days. Yeah, that's the biggest one for me.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing to not have him. But then are they dragging their heels on it because of the effect that it has on classic era and hardcore? So
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if they could get away with that excuse for this one though. Maybe they could.
They hinted at it becoming available later on though, hey? Like, I think one of the interviews they were doing.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, like thinking logically how they would do it. I reckon it could be with an actual specific dual spec trainer. So it would be a dual spec trainer that is only in Season of Discovery. So technically, Classic Era would have dual spec, but it would not be able to go to the trainer to actually use it. But if it was just on the normal trainers, then they would have to be normal trainers specific to Season of Discovery, so which is probably more difficult than them just adding one trainer in each city that is the dual spec trainer. That's how I foresee it.
So what if you had to have runes from at least 2 of the specs in order to like buy your dual spec? You know what I'm hitting at? So it's like as a druid, I would have to have my feral runes and I'd have to have my balance runes, quote unquote, or just put like a number on it. You'd have to have 75% of your total runes for whatever phase you're in to be able to get your dual
Sure.
spec.
Why not? I have all my mage runes anyway, so
yeah.
it doesn't make a difference to me.
So it's like if you wanted to get it on an alt, then you'd have to do a little bit of extra work because you've probably only got one spec's worth. So you couldn't get a dual spec until you've gotten your other runes.
Sure. It sounds like they're going to make it quite expensive as well, because I think they were saying they didn't want to implement it this phase because of all the other gold sinks. So it sounds like they're going to include it and make it quite a big gold sink. So I don't think people are going to be able to buy it on multiple alts anyway. It's going to be on the main character you care about, whether you PvP and you PvE. Maybe I'm a rogue and I want to swap between those specializations depending on what I'm doing. You're a farmer like me, maybe you're a tank and a DPS, or a healer and a DPS, and you just want to swap between the two. You know, it'd be really nice, I think, if you have two healers in your, let's say, your Nomragon right now, and at one point in the dungeon where it's like just easy, you swap to a damage spec, and the other person solo heals, right? But you can't really do that now without leaving the raid. So I think it's a big one to add.
Blizz said that they wanted to be able to be changed by like your runes. You switch your runes and all of a sudden you can go from DPS to healing. And I think it's going to get more and more difficult as we get closer to level 60. So it's like, yeah, it might have worked in phase 1. Maybe it's working decent in phase 2, but come phase 3 and phase 4, it's going to be a hard ask to have somebody want to actually play their tune with one spec and do 2 different roles by just switching out their runes.
I doubt Scotty wants to heal on his mage and deep fire.
No, exactly. You know, I'd like dual spec because the thing is, I like being fire in general, not just in the outside world. Like just I like being fire, but then in raids, I do enjoy being arcane. Like I'd do whatever I needed to do. You know, I don't care how much gold it was. Like I'd get dual spec now. So yeah, cool. Ashley, thank you for the super chat as always. So why not make it a talent point you unlock, like mail armor at 40? Yeah.
Good work.
So like not a talent, a spell. Yeah, like you go and learn. You go and learn it. But yeah, you learn dual spec. Yeah, I mean, it just for me, it just needs to be in the game.
Trainer.
Like you'd go and learn any other spell.
Implement it anyway. I don't care. Just give it to me. I'm sick of it.
It can be a quest. It can be a gold sink. It can be a rune. Literally, just whatever. Just give me dual spec. Which, as a mage, I never really thought that would be something that bothered me. But because I can't, because I don't really go around boosting or solo in dungeons or anything. So being deep frost don't really bother me too much. But I think with the addition of being able to heal, like that instantly makes me want dual spec. If you couldn't heal, I'd just be fire all the time anyway. So it wouldn't matter. But
any other quality of life changes, Denzo?
Yeah, another big one for me, because I'm so used to it in Wrath of the Lich King and TBC. Focus target. I really want them to add focus target in. Being able to focus target a certain mob that I'll need to swap to. Let's say I'm playing my mage and I want to focus target a certain mob that I'm going to want to Living Flame, or I'm going to have to swap to at a certain point. It makes a huge difference, especially with not 41-yard nameplates, right? So I would really, really like them to add that in. I think it's just quality of life, which there's no reason not to. And maybe it's again like the client issue and they can't do it because of that, which I think a lot of these things we're suggesting are tied to, unfortunately, right? That's another one. And then there's some things like, I'd like to remove regents for abilities like they do in Wrath with the glyphs.
I feel like they will. Either with a rune or a book. Something like that.
That would be nice. And then even little things, more mailboxes in cities, like they add later on.
True.
So you don't have to walk all the way to, I think, Ogrimmar, you have to go all the way to the bloody, if you're doing your profession stuff, you have to go back to the, that drag plot, or, put the mailbox next to the crafting area, like they do in later expansions. And things like guild banks, like just I think all of these little quality of life things, I don't care if they don't add them in, but it'd be good,
Yeah.
like if they can, hopefully they can, but it's
I
not
mean,
the end of
I'm
the world
exactly
for
the
me
same.
otherwise.
Like guild banks,
Yeah.
it'd be great to see guild banks, but like, would it be something that I actively complained about that I want? Like, no. But if it got added, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of these quality of life things that like I don't really care about, but if they were there, I'd appreciate them being there. We
sure.
spoke about instant mal, Fender. Yeah, we was all pretty much unanimous on wanting instant mal. Okay. We can really quickly just cover the couple of little changes because I know you're gonna want to talk about this, Denzo. So let me switch to this screen. So there's been a very small amount of class changes over the last couple of days. We've had Hunter's Steady Shot, which has been increased basically to 75% range weapon damage, up from 50. So, all right, cool. Just trying to make ranged Hunter better. Whatever.
I think it's literally just a PvP buff, right? Do Hunters even
Sounds
steady
like
shot right now? I don't think they even steady shot in their rotation as ranged.
I've not played a Hunter at all in season. Well, outside
They're
of phase
all
one.
melee anyway.
Yeah, well, maybe now they will with this buff. Who knows? But yeah, I was under the assumption they don't even steady shot. So
Not until later, I think, is what it was.
Yeah.
From what I saw. Yeah, it's like this is going to be a decent buff for later phases. Yeah.
Yeah, I watch a couple of streamers that PvP on their Hunter. I think one of them's Arrow, and like I see him actively using steady shot. Like he'll charge it up to kill someone. So I think just the PvP buff, really. Nothing really big.
Cool. And the big one, Living Flame. So it now lasts 10 seconds with a 30-second cooldown, where it lasted 20 seconds with a 1-minute cooldown. What do you think, Denzo?
Yeah.
You might as well go first because you're going to have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. So for someone that AoE farms dungeons, it's a huge deal. Yeah. I was playing around yesterday, boosting stockades. You used to be able to pull all 4 rooms in the corridor, then go to the last room. So basically 5 rooms, like that whole, when you enter stockades, like there's like that walk corridor all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
You'd pull basically 5 rooms, you'd living bomb a whole bunch of them, and then you would living flame and ice block. And in that ice block, because it would last 20 seconds, it would kill everything. So your kill phase was in the ice block at the end of the corridor. Now, with the 10 seconds, it gets everything to like a third health, a quarter health, and then things start fleeing. And all of a sudden, you can't really ice block kill phase at the end. You have to kite them to the end, ice block, then blink away, bring it back to the start of the dungeon entrance, and do the ledge hop. Don't know if you've seen people do that. They go left and right at the start. So you're adding a bunch of time. And you're not able to do it as fast. So basically, I was able to before clear the whole dungeon in 14 and a half minutes and kill everything in there. And now I'm getting to like 15 and a half, and I'm not even able to get to that last room. So I'm missing like a whole section. So it really has hurt AoE dungeon farming a lot. You have to do it in like really disjointed parts now. If you're not someone that knew how to do these ginormous pulls and you're doing it kind of half-assed before, this is actually going to be a buff for you because you're going to get more living flames out. But if you're someone that was doing these like really, really big giga pulls and you like practice it and learnt it, it's pretty bad. Yeah, you lose a lot of time. And I mean, it's for the average player, it's not going to affect them too much. I think in raiding, it's not really a big deal. You just have to press living flame more now. So you just have to remember, like I raided yesterday and my muscle memory wasn't reminding me to press living flame because you'd only press it twice in a pool, right? Whereas now it's like you got to press it 4 times. So I think once you get used to it, it's not that big a deal. PvP, I think it's a bit weaker since I think they reduce the movement speed of it as well. I think it's 86% of.
I don't even know it had a movement speed.
Movement speed adjusted to 86%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was actually so fast that you couldn't outrun it before. So in PvP, if a mage living flames you, you're hit by it, and you couldn't run away. I think you could if you're a mage possibly, and you blinked and you were very fast. But now I think that means you can outrun it. I might be wrong. I haven't tested it, and I don't PvP. But I remember I was open world farming, and a mage attacked me, and he put living flame on me, and like I just couldn't get away from it. So
yeah, now you're moving 14% faster than the living flame. Yeah, you still can't stand still for too long, but yeah, you would be able to outrun it. My view on it, strictly from PvE, is mine actually differs between specs. So for fire, I don't think it's much of an issue. I think it could even be a good thing overall because, you know, like at the moment, let's say you're doing the I don't know. Yeah, the last boss in Gnomeregan, we'll say, and Living Flame's ready, but the boss is only on like 20% health. You wouldn't bother. You'd just save it for the next one because you don't want it on cooldown for the next one in case the next one dies faster. So now there's less pressure to worry about like, oh, I won't use it because I need it for this moment. You know, you're probably going to have it for all the moments you want it for. But Arcane, I don't like it because, you know, how I use Living Flame is get, you know, Arcane Blast, 4 stacks, boom, Living Flame. Now it means I've got to go up to 4 stacks of Arcane Blast twice, you know, in that time where I would only have to do it once, which obviously does make it more mana intensive. It's probably a lot less desirable for me now than mass regen. You know, if we're talking about just healing, you know, and not pumping. But that's it. I would say for Arcane, it's not quite as good for a healer in particular, but for fire, like, yeah, could almost call it a bit of a convenience.
So my only gripe with these hot fixes was that there was no announcement this time. Like we've gotten used to, we've had the Pavlov's dog like system going for SOD where it's like, oh, okay, we know Friday we're getting announcements of like changes that are going to go live on the next reset. And then during the reset, there might be a couple additional changes that weren't announced on that previous Friday. And then this time I was looking at Friday and I saw some changes and I was like, oh, this is all for retail, like nothing for SOD. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's no changes. And then Tuesday comes out and I'm on the Balancer Discord and I see people are talking about the mage change. And it's like, yeah, Living Flame got nerfed. And I'm like, well, where's the blue post for that? And it's like, oh, there was no announcement. Like people just went in, they logged in the game and they discovered that the tooltip changed. And it's like, yeah, where did the communication go? Like, why did they not announce that these things were going to be going live?
Well, everything's been a bit quiet anyway, and I do think that's because they've got the Cata beta now going, you know, Season of Discovery. They're probably working heavily on stuff, refinements for Phase 3. I think, like in general, the Season of Discovery news has been quiet over the last like 2 weeks. I don't even think I've done any news related video about Season of Discovery for the last couple of weeks. So I know it's been quiet. Or when things have gone out, it's so insignificant. You know, as in like this. I'm not going to sit there and do a video about 2 minor adjustments. You know, there's not been any big
adjustment here too.
What?
The very top portion, the class restrictions on Arathi Basin rep armor rewards have been lifted on all classic era realms and SOD realms.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
that was known
like,
before this went out, though, wasn't it?
That was a big change. I thought like they're gonna change classic era. I thought that was supposed to be untouched. Like I thought, oh, they changed the PvP system a couple months ago, and like reworked the whole like ranking system, and then. This is another change for era realms. Like, were they asking for this, or did they just get this forced upon them to where it's like this is a change? I haven't heard feedback from classic era players if this is a good or a bad thing.
Yeah. I'd see it as a good thing, but yeah, putting out just for anyone who doesn't already know, there's been a massive Cata beta wave. So if you're watching and you want to play the Cata beta, it's worth checking your client because it looks to me like more people have got it than not got it.
Hell yeah.
Countdown. Hello, mate. Yeah, I would think they're a bit snowed under with a Cata beta, hence why things have been slightly quiet with SOD the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and I think we're going to end up going backwards and forwards. There'll be weeks where it's like, oh my god, information overload on SOD, and then there'll be more focus on Cata. Like I'd see it going backwards and forwards for a while, but with the amount of problems that was on the beta for the that there has been since launch, I'd imagine they've been quite busy working through some of those because some of them they're big.
So we have an Australian guest, and then we have an Australian podcaster in the chat. Coincidence? I don't think so. You guys are linked up somehow.
Maybe.
Right. Well, but that's all the quality of life stuff. I mean, if you want to talk about any rune wish lists, or like for your class specific, we can just go around the table and have a few minutes talking about that.
Yeah, I got to pee first. You've gone to the bathroom a couple times, Scotty. I need to take.
I haven't. I've just been getting drinks. But yeah, go on, you go. Yeah, I mean, so mage. It's going to be a bit boring me saying mage because I'd rather you say mage, Denzo. So what would you like 2 mage runes you'd like to see in phase 3?
I think Molten Shield, or the one from Wrath of the Lich King, that could be a nice one. I'm worried about them adding too many active runes for mage specifically. There are a lot of active runes right now, like more active runes than passives. And I know a lot of classes have a lot of passives, but it seems like if you go through the mage rune list, it's just like I remember I just tried this funky build for an STV once, and I had like all these different active abilities. And I had so many buttons I needed to press, and it was garbage. But it just seems like I'm worried if they add too much. So I think for mage at least, something like, the molten armor, I think it's what it's called, from Wrath of the Lich King. Yep. It just gives you the crit. I think that might be kind of nice. What else? It seems like mage is very similar to Wrath of the Lich King as it is in Season of Discovery. You put up Living Bomb, and I would like something to incentivize me to be able to play without just scorching. Right now, you just scorch until you get a hot streak and you pyroblast. I want to use Fireball. I think right now it's just because of the spell level. Is that Fireball, the current level that it's at, it's not high enough. Like the rank of Scorch is closer to 40. And then it's also mana intensive. So I don't know, maybe some kind of rune. I don't know if there was one implemented in later parts of the game that would give them some kind of better mana management, so we could use Fireball, and not worry about going
well, they got mage. So the mage armor.
Mage armor.
Yeah. That obviously gets
then you
changed.
Lose the crit.
Yeah. But the new style mage armor. I even use mage armor on the Cata beta for leveling. Because it's like 3% max mana every 5 seconds. So it's...
Oh, then perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
I think that would be good. Yeah. Screw it. Just give him lust.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's get the lust. What did they call it? What's it called in Cata?
Yeah. Time Warp?
Time Warp?
Time Warp,
or something, right?
Time Warp. But for mage, I'd love to see Alter Time. That would be huge. And probably Mirror Image. Yeah,
yes,
kind of like one. Mirror Image.
Yep.
Is there any others? Any others that I've really sort of got used to using anywhere? No, I'd be happy with Mirror Image. Alter Time would be amazing. So being able to get your buffs up twice, like just for that 6 seconds, is just insane.
As long as mages don't get invis is like busted in PvP. Like a mage can just like vanish and then come out of stealth and just like one shot you. Like no.
I think invis will come at some point. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I kind of agree. Like invis is not one where I wouldn't be crying out for it. If it came in, then cool. No. But I'd love a rune that was changed impact to Cata style impact, where you get a proc. It's a 10% chance you get a proc, and your next fire blast spreads your dots. That would be really nice for fire. So you can just live in bomb one target, get ignite up and everything. Then you get a proc, boom, you use fire blast, and it spreads the dots to everything else. Like, I'd be all for that.
For balanced druid. Yeah.
All right, well that's mage. Well, druid, a couple of runes.
I think it was.
And I'm sick to death of you talking about druid, so I'm gonna go for it to the toilet now.
It might have been Shadow Priest and Warlock. It was data mined that there was going to be a rune for their dots to be able to crit, and I kind of talked about it earlier with like Gale Winds, with like Hurricane being able to hopefully crit with that. But yeah, if our dots could crit, that'd be kind of it'd be a minor DPS increase though. So it's like, yeah, dots critting, cool. I think it would also have to tie in with like the duration being extended as well. So instead of just 12 seconds for Moonfire, Sunfire, it'd have to be 24 seconds, and also be able to crit. So rune wise though, it's like I don't know. I kind of want to be surprised by what they come up with, but I don't want it to be a shit rune like Gale Winds, you know?
When did boomies get that flap ability where they can fly?
I've seen so many people say like, yo, we need flap, and it's like, not as a rune. Get like quality of life book, like let me flap and slow fall from like a high point or something. But yeah, I don't remember treated what it
boomies
was
so far, it feels like that's gonna be the rune.
I think flap.
Choose anything.
I think flap was like Warlords of Draenor. You know, it might have been mop, but I feel like it was actually as late as WoD.
It would be kind of cool. Okay, like we have to find a high point in the raid, and we have to flap down. And the longer you flap, the more DPS boost you get for like 30 seconds. Like you fall for 3 seconds, you get a 30% damage boost for 30 seconds. Like hell yeah, I'll flap my fucking ass off in raid. Like, Scotty, hold on, go pull. I gotta flap.
Yeah. If you didn't put the L in there, I mean, that would make sense to what you're normally doing in raids. I've seen your damage.
I'm a one-handed raider. What can I say?
Is there any other? So, I more wanted to do this just for the classes we play, but it's a little bit boring that two of us are mages. So, if there's like,
he plays Warlock too.
Yeah. So Warlock, what Warlock runes would you like to see? And then we can round off the show, call it a nice short one, and we can all get on the catabator. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
What Warlock runes would I like to see? I mean, they've added, like, I play a demo lock usually in Wrath of the Lich King. So they've added Metamorphosis. I think some more runes to allow Warlock tanks to have AoE threat. I think maybe Hellfire. Oh my god, yes.
It's just as a tank though. Like I don't know how they could work that, but like not a DPS seed, but like a tank seed.
I would like it as a DPS seed. Like
no. I said no DPS seed. I know you said you played Warlock and TBC. No, you've had your fun.
Seed of Corruption's pretty awesome. I think for Warlock tank, maybe Hellfire, like the ability that you use when you go into meta in Wrath. I think it's called Hellfire. But it just gives you an AoE sort of damage effect, right? I think that would be kind of nice.
Is it Immolation
Aura?
To
give them a bit more AoE.
You're talking about
Immolation Aura. That's the one. Yeah. So maybe Immolation as an ability, as a rune for Warlock tanks. I think their AoE is kind of a bit rough unless you spec into the less pushback and then Hellfire. And even then, you kind of need to play Alliance and have Concentration Aura up, I believe, for you to get 0 knockback. I think Warlock tanks are still doing it. The good Warlock tanks are still playing Deep Fire and going full damage. There are some people that play Soul Link, Deep Affliction. Not my type of tank, but you know, it's full mit, whatever. I think, Immolation Aura or whatever it is would be very good. And yeah, Seed of Corruption, thanks for bringing it up. Perfect.
No.
I would love to be able to do spam seeds on trash bags. It sounds amazing.
What about Soul Swap? I mean, like that's one of my all-time favorite Warlock abilities. And while I know, you know, there's probably not a lot of Affliction locks at the moment, you know, at level 60, or even 50. You know, in 20-man raids, if the bosses are lasting a long time and dots start scaling better.
Yep.
Soul Swap's amazing.
If they put that rune in where your dots can crit, Affliction Lock becomes a lot more viable. I think right now the fact that their dots can't crit is a huge reason why you just play fire, because you're constantly critting, right, on your channeled on your casted abilities. Yeah, I mean, what expansion Soul Swap from?
Kata.
Kata?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Makes
that's
sense.
why I don't know too much about it. I honestly haven't played that much Kata. I need to get into the beta.
Have you refreshed your launcher? You might be in.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm gonna maybe double check. What does it do? Is it?
It'll just be in your drop-down menu where the in development section. Oh, Soul Swap you're talking about. What does that do?
Oh, Soul Swap.
You swap your dots from one target to another, like all of them. But you
perfect.
can actually you can glyph it as well, so it has a 30-second cooldown, but it will keep the dots on the previous target as well.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds really good. I don't usually play Affliction, so that's the one thing I will tend to stay away from. I don't like having to multi-dot. Gives me a headache, honestly. I'll usually play. That's why I'm playing Demo right now in Wrath. And then before then, obviously, I was playing Destruction and TBC. You know what I would like to see? I would like to see the portal, where you can drop your portal down and teleport.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think that would be a nice one. It might be a bit broken for PvP in some battlegrounds, but I don't PvP, so whatever.
I'd like to see the one that everyone can use. The Demonic Gateway, is it, where you actually put 2 down and then you can, like, everyone in the raid can jump between them on a cooldown. I mean, that'd be cool.
I mean, I'm thinking of like a Warlock being able to do that pre-pull so that they can have a portal right under the boss's feet, so like they don't have a charge. I don't think. Does Meta have a charge?
Meta does.
Charge,
yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I take it all back. I was like, if Warlock didn't have a charge, that'd be fucking sick to just teleport, boom, like pre-place the teleport, and then like you pre-pull into a boss. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah. You look at a boss with mechanics like Crowd Pummeler. Imagine being able to put a portal down before the fight, and you can circle around that boss already. So you put your portal in a certain spot, you go to the other spot, he faces your direction, you portal across, so you don't lose that downtime walking. That'd be pretty cool. I'm sure there's going to be mechanics like that, in raids to come.
Yeah, I think we need some more. Like you said earlier, rather than it constantly being like, here's a load of active abilities, like it would be cool to get some. Like if phase 3 was a bit more like mobility, one of the slots was a lot of mobility. Yeah, so maybe Feral, for example. Oh well, not Feral, but Druid, for example. You had like Displacer Beast, I think it was called, where it basically, no matter what form you was in, it put you in cat and you like blinked forward. Essentially, it was like a blink.
Oh yeah.
So you could have that, or you could have a reduced cooldown on dash. Maybe it's only a 1 minute cooldown or 30-second cooldown, and then another one. What was there was like the feral charge version for Boomy was almost like disengage.
Oh yeah.
So if you was in Boomy, you jump
a video
backwards.
on it. I think. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but Nest put out a video a couple weeks ago about that.
Yeah. I'd do something like that for one of the slots, for like, so every class gets a choice of some form of movement, because even a mage, you could have like blink has got 2 charges instead of 1, or when you blink, you get 30% movement speed for 6 seconds, or so you could enhance the ones that have already got movement speed, and mobility, you can just enhance that a bit further. And the ones that haven't will get some form of mobility. Like that's what I would do.
That's
one
really
of the
cool. Yeah.
there was a book idea I think I had last week too for Druid in specific, Barkskin. Sorry, we get Barkskin at level 44. It has a GCD. I don't remember if it takes certain forms out of their form. If it takes Boomy out of form, I don't remember if it does. It might take like bear tanks out of form.
It does, yeah, it does.
Yeah, so it's like
terrible.
if they can have a book, quality of life book, not a rune, that changes Barkskin so that it's off the GCD and doesn't drop your form, then I would love that, because I feel like we're gonna get tree form too for Resto. I
Can
don't
you
really know.
plot?
There was a data
Can you
mine
pot
room for it.
inform? Yeah.
No, you can't pot inform even. You power shift pot.
So probably even changing that, right? To how they change it to later on, how you could just like use a pot in inform.
Or maybe they do that profession-wise. Maybe somehow they want like bears to have leatherworking or alchemy or something. And then it's like, oh yeah, this potion can be used while in bear form or something. Because I can use potions in moonkin form. So like I don't know what the quality of light. Well, I'm all over the fucking place tonight. Sorry. We got a lot of runes or books this phase for balance and resto, and Feral didn't get any. Really, like it was a revive book, it was a buff duration book, and it was like a hot book. So if there and idle wise, Feral got no idle. Balance got the 2% wrath
one.
damage
Yep.
one. Yeah, so if Feral got a little bit of love and they could somehow use potions from a book next phase, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, Barkskin there was a rune, wasn't there, where you can cast it on someone else. I think it's still meant more for a healer than anything else. But yeah, it did do something else. I think you could cast it on someone else and it removes the
that
penalty.
Seemed busted, yeah. You could chain it. Yeah, it was like a permanent Barkskin as long as you had 2 or 3 restos in your raid. Yeah. It seemed disgustingly overpowered. Like, I don't think it's going to go live what that one was data mined as.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to put Barkskin on someone else as a defensive. I think it's kind of cool, but just not chained. But like you would have paint sup, you know? I like it. Or I think being able to have a tank call for a defensive cooldown is kind of a nice thing if it's harder content.
Yeah.
Well, Druid did get one. I'm sure it was called Ironbark. Or something along those lines in a later expansion, maybe Warlords of Draenor, but it was like a bark skin that you could cast on someone else. I'm sure it was called Ironbark. I'd need to look it up.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Speaking of defensives, I would really, really love if Divine Sacrifice could be cancelled, like in Wrath of the Lich King.
Can it not?
It infuriates me. It can't. No, so you can't cancel it. So all the damage you take just kills you. So funny, on phase 1 on Gamora, before I knew about it, you know, I was like, okay, because like I play a lot of Wrath, I raid lead, I'm like, yeah, DSAC, what a sick ability, you know, call for a DSAC. And like I'm playing my Holy Paladin, I DSAC the bubble explosion, like the fucking AoE ability on the turtle, and I just eat shit and die. Like, and I tried it, and I've made the macro, I've made the cancel macro, I've double clicked it, and I just, doesn't work. So, and it specifically says cannot be cancelled actually in the tooltip. You can't use bubble, so you can't DSAC bubble. I want them to change it, or at least give you some kind of maybe a book that lets you do it, because you can't use it as a raid CD without killing yourself now. So unless it's like very minor damage, you know.
Now you said it, I remember. I remembered the caveat to it now. But it's been a while since I looked at those phase 1 Paladin runes because I don't play Alliance.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe hand of sacrifice. Potentially like a single sack where you can bubble as well. Like I like these things where you can do like a defensive cooldown, and if you play with really good people, you can like make it that you're taking less damage, maybe you can less healers. I think it's a good thing to have in the game for sure, and add more of them, honestly.
Yeah, I like raid cooldowns, and yeah, it is strange why they went down the route of making DSAC almost useless. It's almost useless. Any other runes for any other classes? As I say, with me only playing a mage, it's very difficult for me to. Yeah, I mean, I could tell you loads of abilities that I'd like to see on other classes, but
a big one I've been hearing a lot of people want is Fan of Knives for Rogue, because I've heard
mixed.
Yeah, because like a lot of the thing is we don't have AoE. Shuriken Toss sucks, you know, blah, blah, blah. Rogues suck as it is. We need something to boost us up. But then I'm thinking, you have Fan of Knives and you get Thunder Fury. Like, what happens? You know, like you just...
Or you get Fell Striker. And like
Fell Strike, obviously the classic.
Fell Striker's mandatory at that point, yeah.
Exactly. So you're just introducing these like weapon combinations with it possibly that are going to be a bit broken. But I do see where they're coming from. I mean, not having, or at least give them Blade Flurry or something where they can attack 2 targets at once, you know, like something like this, right? Where you can not be just this single target class. I don't plan to play my rogue in raid this phase. But, you know, I do enjoy playing rogue, especially in Wrath. So I can see where people are, where they're heading with that.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right,
a
here's one.
toggleable Blade Flurry would be what I would go for. So, but obviously you've got to have the talent. So yeah, your combat, you've got Blade Flurry, then yeah, you can get it so it's in a toggleable state, so you can have it on, you can have it off.
Yep.
Here's one. So they totally rework Smoke Bomb. And they could either use Smoke Bomb as a way for Rogue to have like a party-wide utility or raid-wide utility, or they can have Smoke Bomb to where it does AoE damage somehow. Like while Smoke Bomb is active, it does poison damage to all mobs that are in it that is based off of your poison damage from your main hand or so. I don't know how they could work it, but I kind of like Smoke Bomb. And this is like me as a balance druid saying, you know, Smoke Bomb seems cool for rogues to be able to have.
Well, Smoke Bomb did
Give them
just become damage reduction, didn't it? I can't remember when. I'm looking it up, but
yeah, there's some sort of damage reduction to it too.
To begin with, it was being able to attack in and out. That's the first iteration of it, but then it actually became more of a, a proper defensive cooldown, which was, by the looks of it, what looks like now reduces damage taken. Yeah, it was a 20% damage reduction. During Mist it actually changed to that. So yeah, I mean that was good enough.
For that. Even what's that ability? Killing Spree, where they jump around and like hit different targets. Even that, I think, for an AoE ability.
Yeah, I'd like to watch rogues killing themselves with that. It's one of my favourite things to do is watching rogues kill themselves with Killing Spree. Or even when they haven't used Killing Spree and they die, and then they go, "Sorry, that was Killing Spree." So no, it definitely wasn't.
Yep.
Anything else?
Well,
I mean, we've been going for a few hours nearly already, so we don't feel the need to drag it out.
No, I think the last thing we were planned on talking about was like phase 3, like wish list kind of things, like outside of runes and stuff, right? Like I would like to just see leatherworking specialization or whatever you want to call it. Leather specialization, not leatherworking. So if I'm wearing full leather gear as a balance druid, I get a bonus. And I would like to see like hit rating be that bonus. So it's like if I'm wearing full leather, I get 4% hit. And then that encourages me to not steal the cloth gear. And I'm also getting my hit rating, which as a balance druid, I'm severely lacking in. And I think that solves a lot of problems. So I'd like to see that. I don't know if that would translate to other classes as well. Like warriors get like a plate specialization to where if they're wearing all plate, they get a bonus. Hunters, if they're wearing all mail, they get a bonus instead of hunters wanting to go leather. I'd like to see that for phase 3 because in Kata, it's a level 50 thing. You reach level 50, you get your armor specialization.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It don't matter for us as cloth wearers.
Warriors. It would stop all the warriors and people complaining that they're taking leather gear and all of that. I guess
the whole pug thing in phase 2, like I've only done Nomer I think for maybe 5 times max, and it's been an issue. Like an item drops, it's a main spec off spec run, and then it's like, yo, you can't roll for this. Like it's not your specialization. Like you're a warrior. You get to roll on you get to roll on plate, and the warrior's argument is, it's my bis. And then like, sorry, it's only going to be allowed to be rolled off on the leather wearers.
I'd be so angry. Yeah,
it's like it's
the
a
thinnest they otherwise, man.
Thing. Yeah. So like, I'd like to see some specializations.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. But...
Yeah, Look, the biggest qualms I have, and what I want to see phase 3 be different to phase 2 is just more content. I think even for people that are semi-casual, they're running out of things to do and they're starting to raid blog. So just like anything, give us anything. World bosses, give us world quests with some kind of reputation or grind. You know, give us like, I don't know, PvP events or PvE events in the world, like Crossroad getting attacked by centaurs or something. I don't care. Like anything that's fun. You know, Shimmering Flats, make it an actual race course where people can go and race their fucking little things around, and you can get a cool mount maybe at the end of it. Like anything. Like the sky's the limit with what Blizzard can do, but just giving us no pre-biz farm. We go straight from BFD into Nomragon, and then we do STV 2 or 3 times, and we get our runes, and we're done. It's not enough. Yeah. So we just need a little bit more, I think, and I think it's within their power to do it. It's just whether they have maybe the resources to commit to, you know, making brand new things, which I think they do. They are able to make a whole bunch of new quests and, you know, do these like professions and all of that. So I think something like how cool would it be if we roam around and like the lower actually dropped something, you know, and people were actually killing the world boss, and it dropped something and people were PvPing around it to try get the kill on it. You know, it brings me back to, you know, playing Classic and having these like heavy contests with other guilds trying to get the kill on this world boss, and we're killing each other to try and do it. I think it's kind of fun. Like little things like that would make the game feel more alive as well. You know, you have reasons to go places. You know, I don't think anyone would complain, you know, especially if it dropped like really good items.
I'll complain right now. I've got one thing. It's a gripe of mine. It's the whole layering system. So it's like if there were world events, it makes me hesitant, because I know in hardcore realms, I think it was like whoever the hardcore guild that got up to level 60 or close to 61st, they got to farm the world bosses in classic era, like on 7 different layers, because they were the fastest one to get there. So it's like if that same issue kind of arises with layering for these world events, it would have a bad taste in my mouth. And it's not the idea behind it. The idea is great, don't get me wrong. It's the whole layering system and being able to be like, yo, can somebody get me off layer 3? All right, thanks. And like, I hate that shit. So
would there not be solutions to this though? Like maybe when the world bosses open in this area, everything gets pushed to 1 layer. And it becomes this like, it might become unmanageable with the amount of people there.
Yeah, then it's laggy like STV. It's a hard thing to do. Yeah, like I love that idea though.
At least, yeah.
Me personally, what I want for the next phase is more small group play PvE content. Whether that's heroics, whether that's challenge modes, whether that's a reason to do dungeons more, even once you're not needing gear from them. So there's just an extra reason why you would go and do it. The outdoor stuff just irritates me. I'll be honest with you. Like, as in, not the actual content. Like back in original WoW, killing the Emerald Dragons, you know, was amazing because you only really had 3 or 4 guilds on the server that were capable of even killing them. So yeah, you'd get some stragglers come over and try and PvP, but really, there was a couple of 100 people there, max. Now, there would be thousands and thousands, and it would literally break the servers. And not just these servers, it will break RAF, it will break, like we saw, it will break hardcore. People will be dying on hardcore because of server lag, because the servers can't handle that many people. You know what I mean? So I don't think Blizzard, with the amount of people that there are on these mega servers, and like I don't think that it can handle this outdoor world stuff. I think instance would be better. Like, so even if it was like you could do it so there's like a battle that goes on. So let's say there's a portal at where the dragons normally spawn. So say the one in the middle of Duskwood, and that portal there's like you've got Alliance need to control it until the bars fall, and now Alliance raids can go in the portal and fight the boss until the next battle 3 hours later. You know, so a bit like Wintergrasp type thing, but you're fighting for world bosses. I just think Blizzard can manage that a lot better. People might enjoy a complete lag fest in STV, but like it was the most irritating thing I've ever done. Like, if I want to play the game, you know, I want my abilities to go off when I press them. I don't want to be playing in a shit lagfest game that feels like it is 2004 again. My opinion.
Even just another raid on a 7-day lockout or something. Honestly, more PvE content for us to do, so we're not just raid logging every 3 days. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, what raid? You might have seen the data mine that the next raid is potentially going to be Sunken Temple, but what raid would you like to see in Phase 3? Or
ZF.
2 raids, ZF and like what else?
ZF. Yeah, I love
that one?
ZF. It's such an awesome dungeon. I don't
As
think
a
it will be
mage
though.
player, that's an interesting take because you can't.
I just
AoE
love
grind.
the layout. Yeah, I really like. Also because I can go farm it. I suppose the thing is, like, I don't want it to be a dungeon because it is going to become the meta for boosting, and I'm going to have to do it. So I'd rather it be a raid. But I also love I like that aesthetic of that raid. I really do. And then probably something in Blackrock, maybe lower Blackrock or yeah, but that's probably going to be saved for 60, right? Or maybe 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him add Blackrock Caverns, actually. Like, you know, it's an instance that's in Blackrock Mountain. You know, the everything's there already. Like, if they added that as a level 60 dungeon, like, that would be quite cool, actually. But in terms of the raid for the next phase, like, I said the same thing. Like, as Go knows, like, I love Zul'Farrak. Like, ZF being the raid would be amazing, but it would ruin my leveling plans. But, you know, like, I'd take it still. But Sunken Temple, I like Sunken Temple. I think it will be a good raid if they do it right. The only thing that I find with this, with the whole, like, reusing an existing raid or dungeon to level up to a raid is, like, BFD wouldn't have affected me a great deal anyway, because I probably wouldn't have gone and done BFD other than to maybe get the wand from the quest. But, you know, Gnomeregan, I quite liked Gnomeregan even just as a dungeon, to be fair. Like, you know, it weren't the worst in the world. I normally do Gnomeregan once if I'm leveling and want Trip Runner Dungarees, for example, you know. But when it's bracketed, there's not many dungeons, is there? So you're going to have, like, Zul'Farrak, Moradon, and Sunken Temple. And then the start of BRD is you know, 47 plus. But, you know, there's not a lot there. You're not going to go all the way to the end in Blackrock Depths. You might do, like, 3 or 4 bosses or whatever. So we're taking one out straight away, which just leaves Moradon, Zul'Farrak. And like we are with Alderman, you can do a little bit of Alderman, but anything past that starts dropping too high loot that it's not worth it. So we're going to have 2.5 dungeons. You know, that's literally it. And that's the thing where removing, you're adding a raid, but you're removing a dungeon. It would almost be better that they actually added a raid, like one from the future, if needs be, like Blackrock Caverns,
like Molten Core.
Karazhan Crypts.
Dude, give me fucking Karazhan.
Yeah, I agree. I think these dungeons have been planned out usually to be somewhere that you can level, especially in vanilla. There's a lot of gaps that you have in questing. I think when you get to a certain level, you have to just farm those Naga caves in Feralus, like that southern Isle of Dread. You just go there, and the most efficient way to, like, get these 4 levels is literally just to grind Naga. So removing these extra dungeons from the leveling route is probably just going to impact that more, because you're going to have more people in these, like, crazy farming areas where they're trying to AoE farm or, like, you know, just even solo farm, and they're not going to be able to go do this extra dungeon. So I do agree. I think they should add more. Will they add more? Probably not.
No.
We're probably getting Sunken Temple and that's it. But I would like to see maybe Sunken Temple plus something new. That'd be kind of cool.
Gnomer is going to be a level up raid, though, so you're going to be able to get all this XP like we got from PFD going from phase 1 to phase 2. So maybe that's the gap closer to where we don't have to go farm Naga.
Yeah, it could be. If you're wanting to take your time and do a few resets of it or whatever, you know. What about the PvP event? Do you think, I know we've spoke about this last week, Go, but more for you, Denzo, do you think we're going to get another one?
I think we are, and I really, really hope they pull their shit together and like figure out what the bad stuff was in STV and the bad stuff was in Ashenvale, and try to amalgamate, like bring it together and create something better. Because right now it's kind of miserable. Like some people say they have a lot of fun, like they're psychotic. Sorry, like how do you have fun in STV?
There's
Like,
two
you know what
classes. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Looking for mage, mass regen, like arcane explosion. Like I play a mage and I'm even like sick of it, you know, and you literally just fight around the boss and you just do AoE damage. It's boring. Like and then it's like it's the opposite of Ashenvale, where it was just, you know, basically a PvE event where you run from one thing to the other, kill the bosses and go. You might have a bit of a clash in the mid. And this is the total opposite. You know, they should have made it that you could be in 40-man raids, and at least there'd be some kind of like a tactical thing there. You know, if it's 40, like all these 40-man raids in STV, and it's still Alliance and Horde, at least you can get some kind of, you know. Right now, it's a clusterfuck.
You just
like,
have 40 mages, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
Oh, well,
probably. Yeah. Probably, but it's still better than just 5-man little like skirmish groups that you res, you run, you die, you res, you run, you die, and you just rinse, repeat, go to the altar, dump your coins, and go again. I don't know how people have fun doing it. So I do the 2 that I need to get my coins, or the 1 if I get really lucky, and I'm out. You know,
yeah.
And I've done it on 3 tunes now, and I'm done. Like I don't want to do this event ever again. So I hope they have a new one. And I hope they maybe figure out what's been bad on both of them and come to a sort of middle ground, maybe.
So
It's hard, though.
what sort of PvP event would you like to see? Because Ashenvale was kind of like Alterac Valley, they said, where it's kind of like, you know, PvE, there's bosses, you have to kill the bosses, and then go around, kill another boss. This STV event was free for all. Would you like to see like a capture the flag type of event where it's kind of like a war song, like an Arathi Basin event where it's like a capture the node, and the longer you have the node, you get more resources? Are there any sort of PvP battleground things that you could like to see from the next PvP event?
It's kind of hard. I think no matter what they do, people are going to find a way to cheese it. And it's going to be kind of bad because of the nature of just having like everyone on the same layer. It's going to be laggy as shit, probably. They've shown that there's not really a good solution to any of this. Maybe like a Wintergrass type of thing. Maybe.
So it's like, you know, instanced instead of open world kind of thing?
Yeah, I would think so. And it's like, you know, 100 versus 100. At least then it caps the lag.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, yeah, it is like a capture their fortress or something. Like it's really hard to say. Like I think no matter what they do, there's going to be bad things, and people are going to have negatives about it. But yeah, just for me, it being laggy, everyone congregating in one area, it's not a fun experience. So yeah, I think the instances thing might be good. You know, at every 3 hours or whatever it is, you go to like, you know, whatever zone it is, and you talk to the battle master, and you get put into the queue, and then you get into your own whatever it is that they decide, and yeah, it goes from there, right? And it's not going to be any different, right? All it means is that people with bad internet or really bad PCs will be able to actually survive. Like, I can't imagine how it would be if you're lagging like already.
What I'd do to get the best of both worlds, you know, to add extra PvE content and have a reasonably like fun PvP experience, would be pick quite a big zone. I don't know, let's say Searing Gorge. Searing Gorge ain't that big of a zone. We could probably think of one that's bigger, but I'm thinking about in that level, you know, that level range. And let's say like the middle of the map, so where this like slag mine is down the bottom, you know, they had an instance portal down there which has got a boss that's got, you know, it's a 20-man boss, you know, just one single boss that, depending on who controls the zone, you know, can go in. So very much like VOA that we've seen before. But I would spread the fight out so much. So I would have it as like, it's the first to, let's say, 10,000 resources wins, because you've got like mine carts all over and tracks and stuff like that in Searing Gorge. So they haven't got to make them visually start working, but you could have like 10 or 12 different points all over the map. And, you capture them as Horde or you capture them as Alliance. And the more of those that you've got, the bigger your score's going to be. But I wouldn't just have like 3. I would have loads, 10 or 12. So it makes it really hard to try and manage that many people that are going to be doing it on your faction, that everyone's going to actually be spread out a little bit more. And, when you see, like, you would get small groups going around trying to capture each different one, and you'd get people just camping the same one. Like, whatever you do, you need to force people away from each other rather than to each other. Because obviously, if there's a point that you need to capture, it will naturally create PvP at that objective point. But when you've only got 3 or 2, or it was a King of the Hill and you've just got one area that you capture, that's just going to be an absolute lag fest. So for me, it would be about how you can really divide the amount of people that are PvPing in the same zone, but they're all still fighting for the same, the same end goal. Do you know what I mean? And then having a boss that your faction can fight at the end of it every few hours would just be amazing. Even if literally you could go in and he's not even got to be a hard boss. You can go in and kill him, and he drops some crafting materials and consumables and stuff like that for everyone who kills him. And it's literally a 3-hour reset. So if your faction is lucky and they win back to back, then they can kill the boss multiple times a day. But at the same, because again, on the PvP servers, they're meant to be balanced anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. It will just come down to who's better at that in that game. That's what I'd do, something like that. Again, I don't like the idea of forcing everybody into these one locations, and it just creates lag. And
I like what
it goes back to what. No, I was going to say it goes back to what you said about well bosses though, and why they're bad, because it's it's something in the open world, and then people will congregate and it'll lag. So I think splitting them up is a good idea. Yeah.
And then people finish it on one layer, and then they're like, "Yo, invite me to a different layer," and then they get another bonus from another layer, and it's like, no. But yeah, like I pinned what Dad said, because a pirates versus goblin sort of event would be kind of nice. Like seeing pirates in SOD feels very vanilla for me. I don't know what it is. It would, if it was like the swashbuckler rep thing that you could do back in Classic. I want to see some pirates. It was kind of hinted at in the timeline for retail, I think, that there was going to be maybe pirates, because there was like a skull for something that was supposed to be launched like by now, I think. But yeah, dude, let me see some pirates in SOD and have that be some sort of lore. I'm down with that. Like a pirate
PvP boat battles, you say?
Oh,
you go to the pirate, the pirate cove in Tanneris, and you all get on your boats, and then you all go out to sea.
I'm manning the mast. You guys take care of the swab the poop decks.
Yeah, well, it's literally World of Warcraft meets Sea of Thieves. Can you imagine?
Hell yeah!
World of Warships.
Let's go, dude. Like Tenaris fucking offshore battles. Let's do it.
Yeah, that would be. It'd be fun, but definitely never would happen. But like, it would be fun. One of the most exciting things I've done recently was on the beta when I got my boat in Thousand Needles while I was leveling. That was like, having your own boat is just like, man, it's so sad that you can only use it in one zone. I'd love to be able to have a boat everywhere. I know you get your raft, you get a raft in Mr. Pandaria, but give us boats. Boats would be cool. Boats or houses, or both.
Give us boats and sod, yeah. Come on. Somebody said player houses earlier too. Who was that? Was that Shadow? Somebody said something about player housing, and I was like, I wanted to bring it up, but I was like, we're never gonna get player housing in SOD. But I mean,
I love player housing.
Garrisons.
Cool. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Cool. Any more for any more?
I am all good. What do you think, Denzo?
I know a group of people that really want me to say something, it would
Do
be
it. Bring it up.
emphasizing GDKPs, because it has killed the way that about a few hundred of us have played. I really want to see it back in phase 3, and it's an unpopular opinion. You know, a lot of people will die on this
it's not an unpopular opinion anymore. Like, honestly,
I'm with you.
It used to be. It used to be this thing that, you know, if I mentioned GDKPs in a video, it'd instantly get disliked, bombed, and everyone would be like, "Man, they're like you promote buying gold and all of that." It's really not as big of a topic like that anymore. In my opinion, anyway, and what I'm seeing, there's a lot of people that are happy there's no GDKPs in SOD, but I would say I've had more complaints that it's not there. Actually, I think there's more people that are upset that it's not there. My stance on GDKPs has always been the same. Like, I probably wouldn't do them in Season of Discovery at all, because that's not why I do GDKPs. So, the only reason I do GDKPs on Wrath is literally for game time, because I'm like, I'll go in, I do one raid every couple of months on a character that I don't necessarily even want to play. So, you know, it feels a bit of a chore, you know, because I'm not going in there to buy gear. I'm going in there to leech gold and then use the gold to buy game time. So I get to play the game for free. If they removed that ability to do that, I wouldn't do GDKPs at all. You know, because you know, I like being in a guild and raiding with the same people all the time. And you know, that's just me. I've got nothing against GDKPs, and I understand why people do them. But at the same time, without being able to buy game time, I just wouldn't do them. I could think of nothing worse than doing GDKPs on SOD and getting a nice 3 or 5 gold cut. Like, I'm all right. I won't raid that week.
I mean,
3 or 5 gold better than
down,
nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think we were getting probably like 20, 30, 40 gold, 50 if it was a good run in phase 1. But I think it comes down to you wanting to only really play one main. For someone that wants, like me, that wants to play one of every class, and I want to get them all geared, I can't do that in a guild. I don't want to join 8 fucking guilds. Like, there's no way I'm going to do that. But doing this, I'm able to, you know, I have all my tunes from phase 1. They're all in bisc gear because I ran GDKPs, and I do 8 every 3 days, you know, and I enjoyed doing it, and it was good content. And it's a shame, really, because the only reason that they're banned is because of gold buying and gold selling. I don't think you saw what Blizzard did when they announced a GDKP ban, and they basically said that if you get caught doing them, you're going to be open to being banned, like permanent banned, and like all of that. It scared people right off. Everyone stopped doing them. They can come forward, in my opinion, and do the same thing about gold buying and gold selling, and say, hey, if you're caught gold buying, gold selling, you get a permanent ban. I mean, even go far as to IP ban them, right? It would stop 99% of people buying and selling gold. Because right now, I was speaking to a friend, and he openly told me, I bought gold and I got banned for it. I was like, oh yeah, really? And he's like, yeah, 2 weeks. It's a slap on the wrist is what it is, right? So people aren't scared away from doing it. So they're going to keep doing it. And don't tell me that there aren't things right now that you can buy gold for, right? People are still buying gold. I mean, if you go and you farm Alderman on your hunter and you get a Pendulum of Doom and someone buys it for 1,000 gold off the auction house, is that naturally farmed gold?
Yeah,
I mean, you're kidding yourself if you think otherwise.
It's definitely is. 100%.
So it's still in the economy, man. So all you've done is you've taken away a loot system that people that love to play alts really like. You know, I can play my alts, I can fund my mains, you know, and on top of that, very, very high skill good players gravitate towards going to GDKPs on their alts because they can make money for their main. You don't typically find as good people, looking for MSOS or soft reses as I have found. Like, I was able to comfortably 95 pass plus on pretty much all my tunes, every class, doing GDKPs in phase 1. Right? I can't pass that high with some of these pugs that I'll form. It's just impossible. So a lot of good players are not playing as many characters anymore. They're just playing their one main or their second main, and they're not pugging. They're not going MSOS. And I have a bunch of people that would regularly play with me, and you know, one of them's a dad. He has a wife. He has 3 kids. He said, I can't commit to a guild run the same time twice a week. He's like, I could come to your GDKPs. They wouldn't be a set time. And if I couldn't make it, it wasn't the end of the world. You could find someone else that was just as good as me. And he loved that flexibility. It's gone now. He's like, I don't want to MSOS. I don't want to soft res. It's going to be miserable. I had someone ninja items off me last time. Or, you know, I got into a group that we couldn't full clear because the last two bosses are pub stompers, right? So there are a lot of issues that have come with this now, and a lot of people that have quit. Honestly, like I know probably about 30 people that have quit because of this. I have no interest. I don't want to play in a guild. I don't have the time for it. I don't want to pug MSOS or soft res. So I think really bring them back. Be tougher on gold buying, gold selling, botting. If anyone gets caught, just get them out of there. And it's one of those things where the warning itself is going to do more than actually banning people. Taking a stance and announcing, hey, you're going to get permabanned if you buy gold. You're going to get permabanned if you sell gold. It's going to drop. 99% of it will disappear, and we'll be left with a loot system that is fair, that is good, that we get something out of when we leave. We get either gold or we get an item. You know, we had the Mechano Strider drop yesterday, the fluorescent one. And I know everyone was saying grats to me, but really deep inside, they were going, fuck you. They were salty because I had won this mount, you know, like this super rare mount. In a GDKP, if that dropped, everyone would be happy because no matter who wins it, we're getting a fat payout.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's like, and that's how it is. Like,
the thing. So again, I'm always very neutral on the topic because
of course,
I don't care whether they're there or not. You know, as in if it wouldn't affect me in Season of Discovery because, as I say, I wouldn't do them even if they was there. But Blizzard did say since the ban in the GDKPs, it was on a post a few weeks ago. They said they've seen positive results from it. What are these positive results?
Yeah, and
you know,
they stopped posting how many accounts they've been banning.
But you know, like I'd just like to know what that was. And I'm not trolling or being a dick. I'm being serious. You can't say that. You can't say, well, since we banned GDKPs, we've seen a positive result. Okay, well, would you care to share? Like, what does that? What does it even mean? First, you know, what has there been less? Has there been less gold buying? Has there been less bot accounts? Has there been what is the positive result that came out of it? But yeah, I like for me, I know people have quit because of GDKPs, but like they got banned. But I also know people who have quit because of GDKPs being in the game. So you know, the thing is, I don't understand the people that quit because they're there. Because it's like, well, if they're there, then just don't do them. Whatever, you know, it hasn't got to ruin your enjoyment of the game. The only downside to it is it does make finding groups a bit more difficult if you don't do GDKPs. Because, you know, when I think back to Phase 1, the vast majority of the pub groups in, you know, being advertised in trade were GDKPs. There weren't that many soft res runs or main spec off spec runs because GDKPs, like you said, generally are just better. People have to perform if they want their cut. People have to stay till the end. So even if you're wiping, they're a lot less likely to leave because that's it. They've lost their cut. You know, so that's the biggest one for me is people stay till the end. You know, you're not going to get someone like kill one boss and leave.
I only did GDKPs in Phase 1 and I never had anyone leave. Okay, in all of the ones I ran. Now, Phase 2, I've had probably 8 people, you can count it on 2 hands, like that have left before a certain boss because we wiped, or I remember a guy left and then I inspected him as he was like getting ported out of the dungeon and I looked at him and I was like, oh, he doesn't need any loot off mech. That's why he left, right? Like so many people that either leave or rage quit. People mess up mechanics. Now, I know it's a pug and I know people are learning and all that, but they do it like 3 times in a row. I have no way to punish them or to like you say, hey, you know, this is a fine out of your cut. Whereas before people know that they go, okay, you know, I'm going to try perform my best. Yeah, people don't even care. They just sit there, hit their buttons, and it's fine if that's the type of gameplay you want. But you know, I had probably 100 people regularly coming to these events in Phase 1, and now it's dropped down to like 10 people. So that they have just become my guild on one of my characters that we just MSOS -10 every run we do. but they all want it back. So again, at the end of the day, the only people that this is affecting are the people that really like this loot type. And I think Blizzard needs to wake up and either, like I said, ban people permanently for buying or selling gold, or implement their own loot system, which uses what's good out of GDKP without the gold. I think I was saying before, Simon Eyes made a really good video about this, and he was talking about adding a DKP system into the game where each boss drops like a token or whatever it is, and then you build up those tokens and then you use them to bid on loot. And at the end, it gets split up between people, and then there's a vendor that you can go to after the raid or whatever, and you can hand them in to, like, you know, get whatever it is, items or gold. The big thing that GDKP does is it makes people that are in full BIS stick around and still play the game. That is 100% the best part about it, is that you said you're one item off BIS right now.
Yeah.
That was like last week, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What happens when you get BIS? I mean, you're going to stick around because they're your friends and you're in a guild.
Yeah, but it's going to be very boring. It's already very boring because I literally need one item. Next time it drops, it's mine anyway, probably, because I think everyone else has got it that needs it. GDKPs reward you for your time, like, no doubt. As I say, like, you know, I don't need converting. I see the good, I see the bad. But, you know, as I say, it's always been one of those topics where I've never felt particularly strong about it, because I could compare it to anything. I could compare it to LFR and Kata. You know, people are like, oh, LFR is crap, no one wants it, blah, blah. I don't care if you want to put it in, as long as there's no real reason for me to do it. If I don't want to do it, it can be there. I don't care what's in the game, as long as I'm not forced to do it. You know, I'm very, like BGs. I'm not like, I don't really like doing PvP. Can you remove them from the game? Because I don't like it, you know. People would be like, are you some sort of dick? You know, it's like, well, other people enjoy them. It's like, well, I don't care about their enjoyment. I don't want to do Battlegrounds, so just remove them. It will make me happier.
For sure.
I'm with Denzo, though. I've had a very similar experience with GDKPs in particular. Like, every GDKP I did in phase 1 was like flawless. It was a smooth run, minimal wipes, if any, in BFD, and then I got a reward at the end, whether I got loot or I didn't buy loot. There was still something there drawing me to complete the raid. If I wanted to drop out of the raid early, I didn't get gold. And that was a choice I would have made, but nobody made that choice. Nobody was like, oh yeah, it's better worth my time to leave the raid and not get anything than to finish the raid. And then in phase 2, there was the most stressful soft reserve run I've ever had in my entire life, where I haven't seen this, though, to be fair. I haven't seen it to where you put your soft res in and then it's hidden and nobody can see like what you've soft resed. And that was the biggest fucking issue you could ever imagine. Everybody was like, yo, you need to, everybody's put their soft res in, you need to make it public now. And the Rayleigh was like, no, it's fine. And everybody like
he's fine because I could see him.
Yeah, everybody revolted against this raid leader, and like I trusted the raid leader. Like they seemed chill, but I get where everybody else in the raid was coming from. It was like, yo, like, what if the raid lead is changing their soft res during the run to where, you know, something doesn't drop at the first boss that they resed, and then they changed it further down the line. But that was, everybody was bitching the whole fucking run about the items being like hidden, and it caused all this drama. And there was another run, I think it was a different run, where our main tank and off tank left after the 4th boss. And it was I don't remember if it was a soft res or main spec off spec run, but yeah, like there was nothing tying the tanks to the run, and they were just like, ah, fuck it, I don't care, I'm leaving. And then, are you gonna be able to find a main tank off tank for the last 2 bosses in Nomer? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no,
fucking not.
you're not gonna find that. So it was just like, well, there goes my fucking lockout. Like, okay, cool. So yeah, GDKPs, I have not had that issue at all. So I would love to see them back, and I'm happy to be on that side of the argument.
For sure. And even if it isn't GDKPs back, but like I said, they just implement a loot system which rewards people for staying, and a loot system which means that even if you don't win loot, you get something. You know, whether that is just, it could be as like that emblem stuff, it could be just gold, I don't know, just like something which incentivizes people to stay, which makes it so people don't want to leave early, because MS, OS, and soft res are flawed systems. They're just not good ways to raid. And like Blizzard went out straight up and said, they were saying, oh, the game's meant to be played back like in Classic, where you're meant to raid in a guild. Now, here's the thing, the current player base is modern, and we're not like we were back in the day. A lot of people don't have time to commit to guilds, so they have to pug, and now you're forcing them to pug in a suboptimal way. So you have to, if you're going to do this and change it, you have to include something which will, make the pugging experience better for people, because not everyone can join guilds. It's as simple as that, and it's the truth. So maybe it's time for a new loot system, honestly. Yeah.
I'm getting pushback from a couple homies. Sully, I see you. Zach, I see you. The thing with the loot system though is like, yeah, you could master loot it till the end, but somebody gets to a certain boss and like, oh, my item didn't drop. Like, fuck it, I'm out.
They can still leave,
like,
They can still see the loot.
Yep.
So the idea I came up with a couple weeks ago, I think I might have mentioned it here, was if Blizzard put the items from each boss in a bag or a chest or something, so whoever it is that loots the boss can loot that item, and then the items from that boss are in that thing, so it's hidden. And if it's a group one or a group run, you can immediately open that and see what's inside. Or if it's a main spec, off spec run or soft reserve run, you can hold on to that chest or that bag, whatever they put those items in, until the end of the run. So it's completely hidden. Nobody knows what the fuck dropped. And then you kill the last boss, and then you open all of those items from the bosses and see what loot has dropped. Then people might be encouraged more to stay till the end of the raid, because they don't know if their item dropped off the first boss and that was the only thing they cared about. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you have to wait, and then you can find out until the end of the raid. Like, that was my suggestion. Yeah, like I'd love to see something like that.
It fixes the people leaving if their item doesn't drop. It doesn't fix people that are fully geared and only need, like, don't need any more items from continually raiding.
Yeah, they're still not going to want to go.
Nope.
You know, I wouldn't join.
Yeah.
I wouldn't join.
Nope.
If it were,
but would you join if you got something out of it? And like, not gold, like not a GKP, but let's say you got emblems of some kind of like something, and then you could trade it in for, you know, something else. I don't know what it is, but you're saying you'd do daily dungeons because you'd get something from it.
Yeah, but I do Gnomeregon. I'll be doing Gnomeregon for weeks in full bis anyway. Like I raid because I enjoy raiding. To be fair, on my main. You know, I don't actually need, like, once I'm full bis, I'm not going to go, cheers guys, see you next phase. You know, I'm still going to raid every week. I wouldn't pug though.
If you weren't in a guild though.
Well, I would find a guild. Like, you know, that's just me. I want to raid in a guild with the same people. I'm not interested in pugging. I can commit to this day, that day, you know, this time from that time. So yeah, it's kind of not relevant to me.
Yeah, what if you're Zach that was married and had 3 kids and he worked a 9-to-5 job all this time and he couldn't, and a rotating roster
Zach's
for his
not
job.
married. Zach is not married.
Then I'd want some of what you're smoking.
Yeah. So like, again, this isn't obviously not for everyone. A lot of people like playing in a traditional guild, but I think the main point that we need to get across is that not everyone can play in a traditional guild, and Blizzard is saying that they can. They literally went ahead and said, we want people to play Classic how it was played back in the day in a guild. Well, hold on, I'm not 18 years old anymore and have no commitments. I am now, you know, I have a lot of commitments and I can't do 2 of the same days every week, and I'm forced to pug, and I have to enter this shit show of like terrible players and terrible loot systems. And
I want to kick back there, because why can't you? You know, as in, so, you know, I look at it as raiding is a hobby, right? You know, playing WoW is a hobby. So if you can have, let's say you're part of a football team and you can go and do football practice every Wednesday night at 7:00, you know, you can commit to things. You know, if it's a hobby, I'm married, I've got 2 kids, and before I was like just doing content creation, I would still raid every. You know, I knew I was raiding every Wednesday and Sunday, and you know, I just made arrangements around that. You know, I knew on Wednesdays and Sundays, that's my hobby time when I'm raiding. So I wouldn't make plans. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'll take the kids out Wednesday night. I'm not going to take the kids out Wednesday night because I'm raiding. They can fucking wait till Thursday.
Sure. I guess not everyone is the same. It is 2 days you're asking to people to commit now instead of one. I think maybe on a 7-day lockout, it becomes a bit easier. It's 1 day a week, you know, for a lot of people. I think 2 days. I'm regurgitating what I've been told by other people.
Oh, I hear it as well. This is not like directed at you. I hear it as well, and I just wonder what it is. Like if you work shift work, like in Dillian, his name is a guy that we play with in SOD. Like every other week, he can't raid. Because he can't make the raid times because, you know, 1 week he's working days, 1 week he's working nights.
Yeah.
So he can only raid every other week. So don't get me wrong, every other week he is probably pugging or finding a GDKP or whatever he's doing. But, you know, so there are people that are affected by 100% depending on what your schedule looks like.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you was to just, treat WoW as a hobby, I do think like the majority of people who say they have no time to raid with a guild could probably find the right guild that suits their timetable. You know what I mean? Whether that's raiding at weekends, raiding late night, raiding evening, afternoons. Like there's guilds raiding at all sorts of weird hours. So you know, I think it's more finding the what suits you.
Maybe they're antisocial.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's more like that's more like it.
Spitballing. Yeah, yeah. Maybe they're like, I don't want to get to know a bunch of dudes that behind a computer screen, and I'd just rather rock up and just come to a random thing, and I'd rather that loot be fair. But who knows? You know, there's could be a myriad of reasons, right? You know, and then you move on to players that play multiple tunes, like me. I'm a sweaty nerd that sits playing WoW like 10 hours a day, right? I don't want to join 8 guilds. I'm in 2, and that's enough for me. I want to be able to go and just, you know, do it at my own leisure and pick when I'm going to run a raid and not have to, you know, organize a bloody MSOS or softres because I want to tear my hair out by the end of it. So I think there's a whole bunch of, that's the thing. There's a whole bunch of different people with different circumstances, and they're all saying the same thing. And that's like the current pugging system is flawed, and it's like I've had people ninja loot. I joined a random raid and I got my loot. The guy said at the end, I won 3 rolls on the last boss. And he said, oh no, it's only 1 item per boss that you can win. I said, what? Where did you say this? And he's like, yeah, I advertised it. I went back through my video, through my clip, and I looked, and his advertisement had nothing in there about, you know, only winning 1 item per boss. And I said, mate, I've got it clipped. Like, do you want me to send it to you? And he said, no. I said it. I did it. I said it in raid chat. I'm like, and I had my chat. They went through the video, and they're like, he never said anything. So you've got people like that, you know, doing dodgy stuff like this. And don't get me wrong, you know, there's always dodgy people. You know, someone could steal a GDKP pot, you know. But I think at the end of the day, players should be able to do what they want. You know, it's become world of communism, man, at this point. I'm sorry. You know, I want the freedom, you know, to do what I'd like to do in a video game. And it's feeling like I'm not able to do that. And I'm not incentivized to raid on more characters. And like you look at Warcraft logs and you look at the amount of people raiding at the moment compared to phase 1. And it's like a third less. I think it's even closer to a half. You know, there's a lot less people raiding. And I think what it is it's not a lot less people, it's a lot less alts. You know, people don't want to raid on alts anymore. And probably to do with GDKP. So, you know, it is what it is.
I was expecting a bigger uptick in like the week to week from like the week of February 27th to March 4th. From February 20th to February 26th. I thought that was going to be a bigger jump. And if you're looking at Ironforge Pro of the SOD population for rating and everything, it was a minor jump. It was a big jump the previous week, and then it was a little minor jump for that week. So I was kind of shocked by that, but I think SOD still has a healthy population, but I think it could be healthier for sure. There could be more people playing like phase 1. So hopefully phase 3 is got more stuff for us to do. It's
Hope so.
bigger systems for us to be engaged with. But I don't know if I hope that we get it, but I don't want to be the doomer here, but I feel like the classic team that's developing this is kind of got their hands in too many different pots right now. They've got the Cata beta, they've got the classic hardcore self-found mode that they have to keep their eye on.
What's that?
Try to update at the same time.
What is that? Is that something that launched? Is it? Oh,
Yeah. So February 29th was the launch date of.
I assume hardcore's popping off at the moment, then, right? Should I be playing that?
Yeah. They've got to keep up with Wrath of the Lich King. Ice Crown has only been out for 23 weeks, so they've got to keep their eye on that as well.
Yeah,
so
bug fixes.
Yeah, bug fixes for the bosses there and balancing issues because Balanced Druid tier set is still bugged. Languish doesn't work. That's going to be an issue in the Cata pre-patch. So I'm sure they're focused on that issue for the tier set for Balanced Druids in particular.
All right, switch your sarcasm off. It's been 3 hours 40 minutes. Let's round this up. People are bored listening to us, which is rightly so. So I'm not even going to say anything to add, or we'll go for another 40 minutes. Go. Where can people find you?
They can find me at Denzo TV, twitch.com/DENZ0TV.
Twitch.com, is it not twitch.tv?
That's exactly where they can find me.
Twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv. What did I say?
Twitch.com.
You've got glasses. You got glasses and a big beard. You could
dude, I sent version of me. I sent Scotty your Twitch the other night and he was like, "Is this your brother?" Like, just he's Blackbeard, you're Redbeard. And I was like, yeah.
Cool.
Basically.
Denzo, where people can find you? I mean, he just spoiled it, but
it's twitch.tv/DENZ0 Denzo TV. And yeah, be doing some YouTube soon, but I only just started streaming about a month and a half ago, so just got it off the ground. But yeah, stop by, say hello. We're doing a lot of AoE farming on the mage, and hopefully getting every class to 40 and then not raiding on it.
What classes do you plan for level 50? Just the mage, maybe mage warlock?
We'll see what happens with Blizzard.
Yeah,
mage and warlock for sure, and then it depends. The balls and Blizzard's court. If they make some good changes, incentivize raiding outside of a guild, I'll do them all. Like I said, phase 1, I raided on 8 characters every lockout, and I was happy doing it. I will raid on 10 every lockout if I get, the game become better. Otherwise, I'll just get them all to 50 and I'll just sit on them and just like have a little challenge for myself to, get them all to that max level just to see what it's about. But I won't get too deep in it. Yeah.
And Scotty, where can we find you on Wednesdays and Saturdays?
Yeah.
Little Cata stream podcast plug.
Yeah. Okay. We already done it at the start. Wednesdays, Season of Discovery podcast right here with my man Go. Saturdays, Cataclysm, podcast with my man Go. And obviously we'll have different guests. We'll have different guests for Season of Discovery, different for Cata. Keep it relevant to what they're playing. And I mean, we're going to be doing deep dives into every spec like that. They're going to be the first Cata episode. So not class, as in we'll be like deep diving like Balanced Druid as one episode, Feral as another, because some of them we might be able to do like balance and resto together. Depends how long it takes, but for now we're just going to work on one at a time because there's a lot to go over. We'll be comparing like for like abilities, talents, everything. So yeah, cool. And thank you everyone who super chatted. And don't think there was any members join, but maybe next time.
Didn't see any.
But thank you for all the super chats, and
there was something I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was. I'm stalling here. That's what I'm doing.
Is there a reason you're stalling? I've got things to do.
Stall. No, there was, but there wasn't. I can't remember. It's lost. It's out of my head. See you Saturday. Do we have guests for Saturday yet? Can we leak a guest? I don't even know.
I'm potentially going to ask 2 people and see if they can make it.
Oh yeah, it was that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, not leaking it yet, but we should have a couple of
Saturday
good
hype.
guests. Yeah, Saturday hype indeed. Right.
Cata
Okay.
hype.
All right. Can we just go, Denzo? Thanks for joining
Denzo,
me.
bro,
I'll put
thank you,
I'll
dude.
put
Thanks for
links
having
to all
me,
their
fellas.
stuff in the description, and yeah, we're out of here. If you want to watch some Cata Beta,
Hopefully-
I'll be over on Kick.
Yeah, hopefully I get Cata Beta soon, and I can jump on this talk show on Saturdays. Yeah, that's I'm looking forward to Cataclysm
Sounds good,
more
man.
than Season of Discovery.
Yeah.